2016 NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. The rain is stopped at the Teague for now. ML Moorfield in Lafayette, Louisiana, the site of a winner's bracket matchup between the second seed, the Arizona Wildcats, and the top-seeded Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. Here's your brackets back on the opening day Friday. A lot of rain, but it was the Cajuns and the Wildcats emerging victorious. They weren't able to play last night. Just one game, an elimination game. Sam Houston State sent Princeton home, and now we get the Cajuns and Wildcats here this afternoon. Welcome to our broadcast location with former Oklahoma State head coach and Hall of Famer Tom Holliday. I'm Brett Dolan. Thanks for joining us. Tom, this is game 4. We should be at game 5 already. Rain has affected every single game so far in this regional. It's been a lot of hurry up and wait for these players and these pitchers.
And I think it's given Arizona a chance to come in here and get comfortable. I mean, even though you don't play, you just relax to the situation, and the home team wants to play. They don't want anybody getting comfortable in their ballpark.
Arizona has a couple of guys at the top of the lineup that do a lot of damage, and then the man entrusted with driving them in is their 3-hole hitter, Ryan Aguilar.
And again, they're going to counter today with a left-hand starting pitcher and look for offense somewhere else in the lineup. I would expect right-hand hitters to play a big part in this ballgame.
For the Cajuns, they have a number of guys who can step up offensively. The other night it was Kenan Fontenot, including this long ball Napo shot.
Maybe one of the better offensive guys in the tournament. And again, it's been so long since both these guys have played, both these ball clubs. You wonder, can they stay hot? And they've had time to cool off.
The top 2 seeds ready to get it on in Lafayette. The Raging Cajuns and the Wildcats. And our first pitch is next. Fans still filing into the Teague here in Lafayette. The top 2 seeds, the Raging Cajuns and the Wildcats, ready to see who can advance to the winner's bracket. Meanwhile, here's your starting lineup for Arizona, 39-20. Cody Raymer and Zach Gibbons at the top provide quite a 1-2 punch. Ryan Aguilar, Bobby Dahlbeck in the cleanup spot today. J.J. Matijevic will be the DH. Kyle Lewis in left. Sharon Oliva in center field. Cesar Salazar will do the catching in bat 8th, and Lewis Boyd will be the shortstop, batting 9th. Pitcher they will face today for Louisiana Lafayette is Gunnar Leger, the Lake Charles native, who's 6-3 on the year, and he has been their top gun throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, I think Coach really felt good about him pitching in this ball game because he's been in a 1 and 2 hole, and I think again by this time of the season, 1, 2, or 3. It's time to do the matchup thing, and Arizona likes action. Left-handers generally control action. Teams a little bit better, and they got a veteran, a sophomore that's been a starter for 2 years.
Here's your defense for the Cajuns. A little bit different today. Fontenot in left, Clement in center, Mills in right. Robinson third. Anshak will get the start at short rather than Castles. Trosclair at second. Pinero's done a great job picking balls off the carpet at first base. And Nick Thurman, well, he catches every single game and every single pitch. He's Mr. Steady behind the plate.
Yeah, that's locked in, and it'll be fun to watch. About time we get a championship ball game.
These 2 teams weren't able to play last night. Ready to go this afternoon. About 45 minutes late, and Leger's first pitch misses to Cody Raymer. 75-degree afternoon, overcast skies, the threat of rain all day. Don't let it fool you. We've had humidity nearly 100% each of the last couple of days. And Cody Raymer with 84 base hits on the year, chops one foul wide at first.
I think Gunnar's velocity is going to range somewhere between 85 and 89. It's pretty good for a left-hander. Great size, and he's got other stuff. I mean, this isn't just a one-pitch guy, and I mean, you'd have to expect that this time of the year.
1-1 to Raymer. Just missed this as plate umpire Mark Wagers.
I think you're going to hear a crowd that's going to be on every pitch thrown from the team in red.
Good looking pitch in there for a strike to Raymer. Raymer's been using that helmet for a couple of years. That might weight him down with all the pine tar on that lid.
I think that tells you that he's been an awfully active player for him.
Comeback. How about the snow cone from Leger? And it did melt on the flip to first, and Raymer retired. One gone.
Hours and hours and hours of PFP, and it's amazing how many pitchers don't understand when they come to college that that's the one part of the field you have to defend, and it really does self-correct pitching mechanics. Because when you get done releasing the ball, that thing could come right back at you, and if you finish properly, you can catch it.
Zach Gibbons steps in and takes strike one. 85 hits on the year for Gibbons, one more than Cody Raymer at the top of this Arizona lineup. And these are guys that if they get on base, Tom, it'll be interesting to see if they can run against Leger, that lefty who is situated in this game just to try and keep the running game at a minimum.
Yeah, and he stayed with a left-hander in the 3-hole and the 5-hole, so a lot of respect for his own left-handed bats.
Robbins will scoop and throw the run. 2 down at the top of the first.
It's going to be a play like that right there where you might think it's simple. That's going to show you how much rain we've had. You know, ball skipping. Last night we had a third baseman slip over his own feet, and you know, there's no holes in that turf. And you know, you hope a play like that doesn't enter into the decision of who wins.
A couple of ground ball outs though to start the first, start this game. Here's Ryan Aguilar, the first baseman.
I mean, he actually had a ball game now to see these guys, and I know that scouting reports fly around, but here's where your own eyes tell you how you're going to pitch him.
Maybe a little bit up and out, 2-0.
Yeah, I think the crowd has a little right to be agitated by that pitch.
Leger gets the swing and a miss. 6'3" sophomore from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Another one of these Barb High School products. What a tremendous high school to produce Division I baseball players and pitchers. All Leger did last year was throw 114 innings and led the conference as a freshman. This year, fewer innings, but opponents hitting just .212 against him.
Got a great game face. Looks like he's right at home, and he is right at home.
Looking for a perfect first. Aguilar ropes one foul wide at third base.
Staying with the hard stuff. You look around, you see outfielders moving on the count. I like that. I think that tells you they're in the ball game.
Ball served out into left center field. This is trouble. It's down. It's going to get to the track. Clement will cut it off, but not before Aguilar will cruise into second base with the double. He has been a doubles machine this year, 19.
And you know, both outfielders made an adjustment here. The lefty went to the left fielder, went to the left field line. Center fielder took 3 steps towards left center. That ball couldn't have been hit any better and in a perfect spot.
So Arizona a chance to score first, and Bobby Dahlback will see if he can knock in Aguilar. Dahlback homered back on Friday night, number 6 on the season. Really playing his best baseball offensively down the stretch, although he's also the closer on this team.
Tell you what, he's a pretty intimidating thing, you know, when you look at the body and forget about that 6th spot in the home run category. They play in a big ballpark, but this guy looks the part, and again, right now is when you want to find somebody to get hot for you and carry the next 2 weeks.
2 for 4 against Sam Houston State back on Friday. Unable to play last night, Arizona went to the indoor football facility here on campus. They took ground balls, they hit in the cages just to try and get some work in.
And not a bad thing with all the travel that they've been doing, you know, an hour and a half workout. That's about all they need on the day off.
Gunnar Leger has jumped ahead, 0-2. Dahlback reaches for it and goes down on strikes.
Pretty good changeup.
So Aguilar with the double, stranded at second. It's Mills, Robinson, Clement for the Raging Cajuns when they come to bat. You're kidding me.
What's up?
That's the Cypress Lakes alligator habitat on campus. Where is he? He's got to be in there lurking somewhere. Tom Holliday would call that dinner.
Yeah, I think we ate that guy. Maybe we ate his tail the other night.
There's the Cajuns starting lineup. Brian Mills, the start in right field leading off. Then Joe Robinson, Kyle Clement. Stephen Trosclair will be the cleanup hitter. Brent Conrad bats fifth. Featured Kenan Fontenot in the open. Alex Pinheiro at first. Nick Thurman will catch. Brad Anchak at short. And they will be facing in Arizona a left-hander, J.C. Cloning. California kid, a junior, 6-3 on the year. Tom, earlier this year, he went 35 innings without issuing a walk.
And again, another one of those guys that's been referred to as this guy can really pitch. And I've always felt like, boy, when somebody calls you a pitcher, it's a compliment. And this is a day and age where everybody's trying to throw the ball 95 mile an hour. This guy's going to go 84, 89, which tells you that there's obviously a two-seamer and a four-seamer in the mix.
Here's Brian Mills to lead off.
It comes out right there and looks like a changeup.
See the numbers on Mills getting the start. Boy, Cloning has some thick calves as he winds and pitches off that mound. Fly ball to right, Gibbons waiting for that one to come down. And there's one gone. Take a look at the Arizona defense. You saw Gibbons make that play. Oliva is in center with Lewis in left. Around the diamond, Dahlback, Boyd, Raymer, and Aguilar. Salazar catching Cloning.
Everybody hunts for a left-hander like this. The guy that throws strikes, the guy that can mix it up, change speeds. Not afraid to lead anything with the first pitch. That's a big thing with me. I think if you're just going to lead fastballs, you know, people figure that out. And scouting reports fly. And believe me, more than ever before, with a little bit of television coverage, you have a pretty good picture of who you're going to face.
He's facing Robbins, the team leader in home runs, with 9. Able to get the strike. Now, Cloning came from College of the Canyons, the JUCO route. You might be thinking, well, how did he get to the College of the Canyons? Originally signed with Long Beach State when Dave Serrano left. Committed to Cal State Fullerton. and then ended up the JUCO route. Now on with Arizona, putting up a fine season and pitching in an important regional game in Lafayette, Louisiana.
For years, I used to feel like I could go to California in the middle of the summer and bring back a whole team. There was that many players out there, and the junior colleges out there are loaded. And loaded with good coaches, too.
Joe Robbins, he's been dealing with a wrist injury. Hasn't kept him out of the lineup. With a big swing and a miss.
Nice, easy delivery. And you watch him to see if he's going to tip his changeup. You can tell he's been around the business a little bit on the mound.
And that one's down.
Little firm on the changeup. That's twice he's thrown a changeup that's been in the 80-82 category. And normally you'd like to see it come maybe 10 or 12 mile an hour off the fastball. And again, with a crowd like this, you kind of expect them to be a little bit loaded up early.
Robbins takes the walk, first base runner for the Cajuns.
Pretty good pitch.
It is a dangerous 3-4-5 combination in the middle. This Louisiana Lafayette lineup. Here's Kyle Clement. Now the lefty hitting .349 on the year.
I thought it was interesting. Both ball clubs have lefties in the 3 and 5 hole, and with two pretty crafty left-hand looking pitchers, that both those guys stay there. You know, that neither lineup was adjusted or maybe, you know, loaded up with right-hand hitters.
Castles maybe one of the omissions. The shortstop not in there for the Cajuns. You saw the pickoff to first. Cloney has picked off 5 successfully this year. So not afraid to show off maybe his B or C move here out of the gates.
Yeah, good point. I think you'll probably see that pick move when the guy really matters. But again, in championship games of regionals, preventing the first run from scoring is a major objective.
That bunt can't be caught by Aguilar, and he pushes it into foul territory. The Cajuns have 2 men on base. A do-or-die play, and he couldn't catch it cleanly. Robbins was running with the pitch.
Yeah, good point. Catch it in the air, you may have a double play. If you don't, you got problems. Now you got first and second, 1 out, and facing the 4 hole.
So Clement with the bunt hit. Now Cloney has to work with 2 men on base and face Stefan Trosclair. 6 long balls, 36 knocked in on the season. Coming off a year in which he just put up huge numbers. 16 homers last year. Maybe not quite the protection consistently in the lineup around him.
But after watching him in batting practice, this guy's got serious power.
He does.
He does belong in the 4 hole, and again, he warranted a straight change on the first pitch.
Lines this one to right center field. Robbins around third will score. Clement to third without a throw, and the Cajuns strike first here at home.
Back-to-back changeups. It's a lot of respect. Sometimes a little dangerous. And at no time did he speed him up. You know, and I think I'm looking for a ground ball right there, and no attempt to jam him. So he's going to pitch his game, obviously, and maybe ignore the scouting report.
Tom, you could tell from that angle he was able to wait back on that changeup with his body, didn't lunge forward at all.
It's almost like, again, he did his homework on the pitcher, and he's going to maybe, I don't want to say be stubborn and stay with your own game, because that's what got you here, but obviously to sit on a changeup after a changeup, he knows he's gone back-to-back with it.
He had a good read. Brings out Dave Lawn, the pitching coach, longtime Pac-12 pitching coach, Cal and USC. Worked with the likes of Mark Pryor, Ian Kennedy with the Trojans.
Now, Dave's been around a long time, and again, when you're a first-year coach, to go get somebody that's been around to handle the most important, I say the most important part of the game, which is a pitching staff, says a lot for Jay.
Tom, when you're a pitching coach making a mound visit in the first inning down 1-0, are you taking the temperature of your pitcher to see if his heart's going a little fast, or are you strictly talking about what you need to do to get the next hitter out?
I think it's to slow down the momentum of the game. Remember, this is the home team they're playing, and you just want to settle everything down, and sometimes you want to settle down yourself. You know, maybe the game plan needs to be adjusted in a hurry.
Winners bracket matchup between the Cajuns and the Wildcats, a game that was supposed to be played last night. Started about 45 minutes late here this afternoon, and the Cajuns strike first. Stefan Trosclair, an RBI hit against J.C. Cloney. Now Bryn Conrad will bat. Conrad, a local product from not only Lafayette High School, he was part of a Little League World Series team in this town in 2005. Now playing for the Cajuns, and a chance to give his team a big boost here in the first inning.
I mean, you want this guy to swing for the RBI, but you know what? To see him push a bunt with this shift on right here, I mean, the shortstop's basically right up the middle. And just a hard push to the shortstop area, you got an RBI and probably an infield hit.
Lewis Boyd came on for a quick conversation before Conrad steps back in. Cajuns had all they could handle from Princeton back on Friday night. They were down 3-2 late before winning. Conrad to bunt. Here comes Clement, the flip home. They didn't get him. Mark Wagers waited and then said safe, and Salazar still holding the ball, hoping he had the out call. A safety squeeze with Conrad, and the Cajuns lead 2-0.
You know, they got away with murder there. I mean, that ball was bunted right back to the mound, and the pitcher filtered it perfectly. Let's see if the tag got him. Yeah, that's bang, bang. The feed from the pitcher actually took the catcher right into the runner.
Tom, you were wondering about the bunt, but not a good one. It still results in a run for the Cajuns and no outs on the play.
Yeah, no harm, you know, no harm in trying right there.
A couple of guys on base for Kenan Fontenot.
Now you do have the pitcher maybe second guessing himself a little bit. And these guys are going to bunt on me, huh? So now I got to throw and get off the mound. That's a negative thought. You don't want that thought running through his mind.
Three home runs for Fontenot on the year, including one back on Friday night. His team was trailing in the contest, and Fontenot stepped up in the fifth inning. He went oppo.
Yeah, with no air. You got no help from Mother Nature there.
Sticky, humid, rainy days and nights here in Lafayette. You're right, wind has not been a factor at all. But the Raging Cajuns with a couple of runs.
See right there, he's in his head right now. This offense is already showing its effectiveness. We both know Arizona doesn't play very many games with this kind of humidity.
Had they played last night, the rain actually cooled things off, even though it was humid. We had a game time temperature in the low 70s. Much stickier today, as you can imagine. Inning started with a fly out to right. A chopper to the left side. Dahlback can't make the play. Instead of a double play or a force, everybody's safe. And the bases are loaded.
Now's the time to go to the mound and pull everybody in, because they look like they're undone. And you can't do that. You've already made one trip.
One visit.
Boy, it feeds right into the home team, doesn't it? I mean, they got that big first inning rolling here. They've done their homework on the guy on the mound, I can tell you that.
Great chance for a double play if Dahlback fields that cleanly. Instead, the bases are full of Cajuns. And the number 7 hitter, Alex Pinheiro, the first baseman, will bat. Coloni really needs a ground ball at an infielder here. Maybe his best pitch of the inning, gets a swing and a miss.
It's nice to see the first pitch be something other than a changeup. And again, you know, it's kind of hard to pitch off the soft stuff. You're going to have to show that fastball in if you want that changeup away to be overly effective.
Coloni misses down and in. Remember, he walked Robbins with the bases empty and 1 out. Had walked just 15 all year in 90+ innings. But a bunt hit, a base hit, and an RBI from Trosclair. A sacrifice and an RBI and a bunt from Conrad. Fontenot reached on an air from Dahlback. Pinheiro takes up and in. 2-1.
I liked the pitch before. I mean, it was down and in on the knee. And that ball right there got a lot of the upper part of the strike zone for me.
Pinheiro, the Miami native, the Pensacola State College transfer. Chance to blow a big hole in this game early. Fly ball to right, see if it's deep enough to score Trosclair. Gibbons will make the catch. He will concede the run. The throw goes to third. And the Cajuns have put 3 on the board in the first inning.
Kind of forced him into bringing the ball up in the zone, and that fly ball right there is going to work no matter where you're playing, no matter who it is. That's a little too deep to ask for your right fielder to throw anybody out. But isn't it amazing how an at-bat can change on a pitch and shift over to where a hitter can literally just let it go, just turn it loose. If you swing and miss 2-0, who cares? You know, but again, he got one up, and yeah, I like the lefty's location, and I just wonder how a left-hander can get the ball in on a righty without it crossing the plate a little bit. Because this guy does have a little crossfire action.
He gets to face a lefty here. 2 outs and 3 runs home. It's Nick Thurman. Catcher has caught every single game this season. You got to be in the shape of your life in this humidity and that workload. As he fouls one back.
Now this guy literally looks to go the other way, so you'd almost expect for Clooney to try to get the ball in on him. Don't let him go the other way.
Three runs on 2 hits this inning, and one of the hits a bunt.
More importantly, you run the pitch count up on him in the first inning. That's another one of those little unmentioned things that coaches love to do, is get that guy, get him out there in the first inning and wear him out a little bit.
Get a lather going, run that pitch count up. Still runners at the corner, soft comebacker, and this should finally end the inning for Arizona, but not before 3 runs come across on just 2 hits. And error to couple of men left on base. Arizona needs to get the bats going, trailing 3-0. It's always a good time here at the Teague. This ballpark seats officially less than 4,000, and yet their average attendance this year was 4,200, 12th best in the country. Thrilled to have a 3-run first inning. And talking about scoring, Tom, certainly runs have been on the rise in this regional compared to the last couple of seasons. In fact, through just 2 days, we had as many home runs as we had in the entire regionals last year.
Yeah, you'd really like to know why, and I don't know that there's been any more adjustments to the bats. I don't think they've made the ball any harder. I do know that there was a strong move last year to harden the ball. Let's make the improvement in the ball, and I know Jack Leggett spearheaded that, and I still believe that because they're using the wooden bat so much in the summer, that kids are learning how to square the ball up better.
Have to find that sweet spot. J.J. Matajevic did the other night when he homered. Leads off this second inning against Gunnar Leger. Arizona had his first 3-homer game of the season back on Friday night, a 7-3 win over Sam Houston State, but now down 3-0. Tom, you talked a lot about just getting a run back, getting on the board, as Matajevic will lift one foul down the left field side, and I gotta believe this fits into that type of situation for Arizona's psyche, just to get something against Leger.
Yeah, you have to answer, and what you don't do is you can't go 3 up, 3 down right here. You gotta let Cloney go in there and regroup. Not so much physically right now, but mentally. I mean, he needs to say, hey, coach, you sure about this? You know, you still want me to do this? And get on the same page and rebuild his confidence in what he's doing. You know, not so much.
Wave and a miss.
Not so much about his stuff, but just about the game plan, what we were going to do with him, because they threw that ugly number up around him, but they did it in a lot of different ways. Tell you what, Gunnar got him out in the strike zone, so Matajevic, Western Pennsylvania boy, had a tough at bat.
Leger ready to face Kyle Lewis. Starts him with a strike.
And again, this guy can throw strikes now. He doesn't have to nibble with the first pitch. Got a 3-run lead.
Lewis is not homered this year. Pops it up right side, foul territory. Pinheiro now back, lunging, and boy, he stayed with that play.
When we started the ball game, we said there was like no air, and now you got a little friendly breeze blowing straight out, and seems to have affected that pop-up right there.
Seen a couple dropped already, but they've ended up resulting in fielder's choices. Jared Oliver, the center fielder, will bat with the bases empty and 2 outs, so a couple of quick outs.
I'd like to see that breeze come right through this press box.
You keep wishing.
I want to get real excited and knock this window out behind me.
I think since this entire press box and structure is going to be taken down in a matter of days upon the completion of their season, you might be able to get away with it.
Yeah, with my luck, I'd cut my arm off.
If you
Tell you
did,
what, they
you'd
like
still
your
be here.
baseball. They like your baseball here, don't they? You look around and everybody's fanning, but everybody's here. And I think with the delay, it got everybody a chance to go to church and get out to the ballpark. And that's kind of the way it's supposed to be in the summertime, isn't it?
Well, they do love their baseball, and they have packed this facility again. And they have showed us great hospitality this entire weekend. The Wildcats would like to receive a little bit of that, but they helped contribute to that 3-run Cajun first. Now they're playing catch-up.
Yeah, you got to slow it down here, man. Just have a long at bat. If it's not productive, just make it long.
In the air to left.
Got in on him a little bit.
Antchak, the shortstop, will backpedal to make the catch, and that's a perfect second from Gunnar Leger.
You feel the momentum. You know, they're already building momentum on the left side of the field.
The ESPN networks bring you every game on the road to Omaha. Starts in these regionals, coverage on ESPN2, the SEC ESPN network, or of course Watch ESPN, and bases loaded whip around coverage available on Watch ESPN and ESPNU. Like to have that fan and all games available on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. If you had the concession rights to water and fans today here at the Teague, you'd be in good shape.
That's
Tom
the fan. That's the fan we were talking about.
You've been
right
looking
there.
for one of those for 3 days.
I wonder if she let us borrow it after this game. That's all right. We'll just sweat it out too.
And Shaq leads off the second, takes a strike from Klein.
Now the zone's gotten a little wider, in and out. It's amazing how they come out and make that statement in the first inning. You got to throw it over the plate.
Maybe a quick out.
Uh-oh.
Aguilar starts to glide a bit.
I don't understand that one.
Hey, by the way, we talk about Arizona being a little bit unconventional under Jay Johnson. Well, Dahlback made an error at third base in the first inning. He finds himself in left field here in the second, and Lewis moves from left to third base.
Well, that's interesting, huh? I mean, you got to keep Dahlback in the lineup when you put him out there because he's your closer.
Think of the challenges if something would happen to Dahlback. You know, it's hot or humid, and you have to leave him in there because come back in this game, you don't want to have your closer out of the contest.
Yeah, it's the hardest part about two-way guys. I mean, it's all right when they're starters. Uh-oh.
Mills with a fly ball to left. This one starts to carry.
Yeah. Now the wind did play a little bit in that. Not much. I actually thought he got it better than that.
So Dahlback moves to left and tested immediately, but he makes the play, and there's 2 outs.
Batting now for Louisiana, third baseman, number 12, Joe Robbins.
I think that was a good swing by Brian Mills. He just not a power guy.
Joe Robbins will bat with the bases empty and 2 outs.
Now this guy will do it. You make that same mistake right there, you go soft in, he'll hit it out of here.
Pretty good pitch to hit. Takes it for a strike. Coloni would like to bounce back with a 1-2-3 second.
Yeah, very important. Very important for Arizona that he finishes this inning.
This ballpark is packed. Sometimes you have to go to extremes to see the game, Tom.
That's an extreme.
Is that safe?
Does she know she's sitting behind the pillar? I think she's just doing her fingernails. I don't know if she's watching the game.
Could she do that inside then?
Yeah, I can see him. I can't see her. Maybe she has a crush on the left fielder. You don't know. That's fun to watch right there. Baseball, these are passionate baseball fans down here in the South.
Truly one of the best environments for college baseball around.
And for Tony to get a new stadium, I mean, that 23 years of his life into this style of living, and to put up, that kind of the numbers he's put up and the sacrifices that go along with your life, and all of a sudden somebody says, you know what, we're going to put about $25 million into the stadium for you, in hopes that he can keep bringing regionals to Lafayette, Louisiana.
Privately raised too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wildcat fans making a little bit of noise. They don't get the perfect inning as Robbins walked. Remember, he walked just an inning ago, and it kick-started a 3-run inning.
At times I think people quit on pitches that are thrown in, and hitters. Everybody wants to go the other way now. Everybody wants to get inside, the ball hit the other way. Then a pitcher comes ramming it in, and you act like it's going to hit you, and the umpires give in and call the ball. That ball had to have got some part of the plate.
Forces Cloney now to work back from the stretch. Also faced the number 3 hitter in Kyle Clements.
That could turn into you're in the middle of the batting order right here. He hits us out of the park. That one pitch turns into 2 runs.
He's given up 1 single that's left the infield. He's trailing 3-0. Close but safe at first is Robbins.
I think he's still saving the good move. But with 4 sets of eyes on him, it better not be too close to the balk line.
Well, he continues to keep an eye on Robbins, who's stolen 9 this season.
That's why he's here today. That's why he started this ball game, to control this running game.
Keeps that glove right up against his body. Robbins will run. The throw from Salazar, not even close. Boyd went over the top of the diving Joe Robbins. Two-out walk changes the complexion of the frame with that subsequent stolen base.
A lot more fun to play when you're up 3 right here. You run, they throw him out, no big deal. That wasn't even close. And again, you got the guy on the mound. His mind is on the running game, and you got to make sure you don't make mistakes at the plate, which is the exact effectiveness of the running game.
Clooney's jumped ahead, 0-2 in the count now to Clement.
Sometimes it takes years to get pitchers to learn how to deal with this right here. Most good high school pitchers don't worry about the running game. It never enters their mind.
Real good ones don't have a lot of runners on to worry about.
And they tell you that. Then, of course, if you luck out and you get a catcher that can really throw, then you really never work on that part of your game. And that is a pitcher's responsibility. Every pitcher should have a couple of different looks, and he should work on his footwork so he has a good pickoff move.
Clement went down to get a low one, floats it into right center, but it will be caught by Gibbons to save a run.
Yeah, almost turned it into a run. Stolen base.
Through 2 innings, Cajuns up 3-0. Always a party atmosphere here in Lafayette. Cajuns in front of the Wildcats, 3-0. Welcome back to the 2016 NCAA Baseball Regionals, presented by Capital One. We're at the Teague ML Moore Field in Lafayette. A couple of 1-0 teams that weren't able to play last night. Only one game, an elimination game. Sam Houston State sent Princeton home. But the winner of this game, Tom, obviously in the driver's seat in this regional.
In all regionals, really. I mean, you get the first 2, you start feeling pretty good because it's, you know, you're 1 win away and you're still probably in the 3-hole in your rotation. And you look around the country, it'll be fun to watch today to see how many guys go 3 in a row. I don't know that with all the rain that a lot of tournaments are going to end today. I think a lot of them are going to end up going into Monday.
We might have a Tuesday at some point.
Yeah, maybe right here.
Baton Rouge in jeopardy here. Cesar Salazar, one of the few that's missed badly from Gunnar Leger, this sophomore left-hander.
You know, Gunner's supporting a 2.08 ERA. I mean, that 3 spot looks really big. I think Arizona has to, they got to remind themselves how they score their runs here. Don't try to get it back with big swings.
It's 8-9-1 this inning.
Kind of felt like going in, we had 3 ball clubs that were identical in style of play. None of them talked about power, and they're all still alive. And again, you want to avoid a big inning. Well, we had a big inning in the first. Base runners right here. This is where that little lean in and take one.
Little slow roller. Leger just will take it himself.
Why not? Momentum's taking you there. Avoid that little flip.
Well, the winner of this regional in a super will be matched up with the Starkville regional. Mississippi State defeated Cal State Fullerton, so they're in that regional final, awaiting the winner of the elimination game between Cal State Fullerton and Louisiana Tech.
It's interesting. Could be 2 Southern teams, could be 2 West Coast teams.
Here's Lewis Boyd, looks at strike 1. We talked about Arizona a few nights ago, Tom. They had the highest RPI of any club in the regional west of the state of Texas. No host schools out there, but Arizona, the highest RPI.
And you know, for Jay to step in and take over the program in Arizona behind one of the true gentlemen in the business, that's a tough act to follow. And Andy Lopez leaving our game for health reasons. For Jay to come in there, I mean, it's that little monkey that just jumps on your shoulder right off the bat, you know, and to get him in a regional says good things about Jay Johnson and I'm sure his players feel really good about getting into the NCAA tournament. And boy, they sure came in here loosey-goosey.
Well, they sure did. An RPI of 21, winners of 6 straight entering play. And for a team that, a program that hadn't been to a regional since winning the national championship now 4 years ago, what an accomplishment just to get here. Now their goals become a little bit higher. We talked about their travel. First of all, they're in Hawaii. They fly back with a red eye through the Denver airport where they watched the selection show, got back on a plane, went to Tucson, practiced on Tuesday. Wednesday, they split the team up on a couple of flights to Dallas. They made it to New Orleans. They practiced at Tulane before they came here on Thursday. I mean, that's a lot of traveling before you even get to play in a regional.
Here's a long fly ball if it stays fair.
Starting to carry into the corner. It'll go foul off the bat of Boyd, the number 9 hitter.
Yeah, you know, you'd like to think that somehow we can figure out a way to bring ball clubs in as a ball club instead of having to split their travel. And I know it's short notice and it's tough on the airlines. It's tough on the NCAA. But, yeah, to have half your team go on one flight, the other half, then here comes your alumni and another one.
They made it. 8th pitch of the at-bat here. On the ground to Trosclair. Easy play, a little bit of offline throw, but a stretch from Pinheiro. He's been worth his weight in gold over at first base in a game and a half.
That's 5 outs that he has saved over at first base. Of course, that's his job. Somebody would just say, where'd you get that stat at? It's not a stat. Nobody's passed that over here, but he has really been good on the balls all around the bag.
Picked a couple of tough throws off the carpet. That time the throw was offline from Trosclair, but able to stretch. Leger set down 6 in a row, and he spins in a high curve to the leadoff man, Cody Raymer.
Oh, I like that pitch.
Raymer ahead now, 2-0.
We get our home plate umpire relax a little bit, settle in, and of course these guys are pitching to the corners, and you got a rabid fan base here that's they're gonna let you know if it's close. They want it. Just don't let them persuade you.
See if this pop-up stays in play. Back over the net. Raymer hit a comebacker, fielded by Leger to start this game. Tell you that's strike 2.
I think they called that pitch before the umpire did.
You're right. 2 outs and 2 strikes, working quickly. Trosclair gets another easy bounce in and over. Perfect frame for Gunnar Leger. To the bottom of the third, 3-0 Cajun.
Seats for their support of the NCAA championship. Their contributions help support and enhance the education.
Father and daughter here at the Teague. She brought her cheerleader outfit with her. Lots to cheer about for the Cajuns, up 3-0. Heart of the lineup for Louisiana Lafayette in the bottom of the third inning. Trosclair, Conrad, and Fontenot. Trosclair started the scoring with an RBI base hit in the first inning. It is still the only single out of the infield for the Cajuns, and yet they lead 3-0.
Yeah, Cloney's got to keep it right where it's at. When you don't answer, I mean, it just makes that next run even more important.
Trosclair hammers one to left. Dahlbeck waiting. Goodbye.
Now, I wondered about the right-handed power showing up against this left-hander, and he lit that one up pretty good. And no help with the wind at all.
Hit 16 of those last year. That's number 7 this season. The minute they left the bat, it was headed beyond the fence and left. Dahlbeck hoping to have a play, and ball just disappeared. Brings up Brent Conrad. He had a sacrifice safety squeeze bunt and an RBI in that first.
And again, right here, just to play their game, I would not be surprised to see him lay one down and treat it like a leadoff situation.
Tried to hold back, quick appeal, and Brandon Cooper at third base says no swing. 2-0. For those of you tuning in that may not know a lot about these Raging Cajuns, well, the level of success they've had in the past 4 seasons, almost unprecedented. As Boyd will track down this pop-up out there in shallow left, and will make the catch for out number 1. 4 straight 40-plus win seasons. Tom, only 3 other teams in college baseball can say that: LSU, Vanderbilt, and Louisville. And they're one of 16 programs to play in a regional each of the last 4 years. So they continue to build on success in recent seasons.
Well, the RPI world that we live in, okay, it's more designed to put together a strong schedule. And people are not afraid to lose a game at midweek as long as they're playing a really good ball club. And it used to be, and I say used to be, I'm going to go 10 years back. The midweek, that's when you developed your young pitchers. So you'd play anybody that you could beat that would come in and let that freshman go 6 innings.
Fontenot will smoke one to center, but Oliva able to make the catch. 2 gone.
Now more and more midweek games are they have high interest. I mean, you'll see a Texas A&M Texas. You'll see an Oklahoma State Dallas Baptist. And it's all for the RPI, and it really does help you develop 4 starting pitchers. But I think the win totals have dropped. And to win 40 now, that's a great year.
It's a big number.
That used to be an automatic. You had to get 40 to get into a region.
Alex Pinheiro will bat. Sacrifice fly in the first. Boy, the shortstop had him played perfectly. Bobbled it. Aguilar the reach, and the inning ends. 3 quick outs after that leadoff home run from Trosclair, and it's 4-0 Cajuns.
Fans, be sure to visit the NCAA Division I Baseball Junior Merchandise Shop located in the Concourse area. NCAA official Division I Baseball merchandise includes
Say again? Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time to talk a little Arizona ball here, you know? Got to balance it out a little bit. Tom, come this way just a little bit.
Okay.
Aha, look at that. That's the Cajun Cooking Club, and they've taken great care of us. We've seen more alligator in the last couple of days, Tom, than we probably have in the last several years. But we also have a guest up in the booth, ESPN's own Pedro Gomez. He's sporting the Arizona uniform, and for good reason. He's also dad.
This weekend, I'm just a dad. I'm a dad, a fan, a nervous wreck, all of the above.
You cover sports for so many years, but you're right. When you're covering your son or you're watching your son, Rio, we saw you the other night, the hands in the head, the heart's probably beating. It's a whole different level of anxiety.
It is. I think anybody who's a parent knows that when you go watch your kid, whether it be Little League, high school, college, pro, it doesn't matter. I know I've talked to Jeff Weaver's dad, who, I'm Jared Weaver. Jared Weaver's an all-star, and his dad is a nervous wreck on the days that he pitches, so not unusual.
But Pedro, such a thrill for this group of Arizona Wildcats to get to a regional after not being able to enjoy that. Now, your son, a sophomore, but for those seniors that have been around, there's Zach Gibbons. There's one of them, smokes a ball in the center field. What an accomplishment to turn it around under a first-year coach here in Jay Johnson.
It really is, and Jay challenged a lot of the seniors who some of them didn't get a lot of playing time last year. Players like Ryan Aguilar at first, who led the team in home runs and RBIs this year. Lewis Boyd is a JUCO transfer who comes in. Cody Raymer didn't get a lot of innings last year, and yet they've answered the call at every turn. Jared Oliva, same thing.
And here is Aguilar. Doubled back in the first inning. Rolls one to second. Trosclair gets one. Not in time for the double play.
Tell you what, that's a routine double play ball on AstroTurf. It's supposed to be quicker. That was actually slower.
Maybe the humidity.
I don't know.
Slowing down the ball. It's just a tad humidity.
Yeah. You feel like Arizona has to score a run right here. They got to get back in the game.
psychologically, obviously, you need to just chip away. You don't need to get all 4 back, but if you can just get 1 here, 1 there, you feel like you're in the game. Because right now, psychologically, I think that you could see it in their body language that they're a little bit down. Now, the guy at the plate, I know he's made a couple of errors in the 2 games here, but I've seen him for 2 years, and Bobby Dahlbeck is a one-man wrecking crew who is able, he led the pack in home runs last year as a sophomore with 15. Went to the Cape and destroyed the Cape with home runs as well. So he's capable of putting 2 on the board right now with 1 swing easily.
Facing Gunnar Leger, reaching a bit for that one for strike 1.
And Pedro, along with that, I think they know that.
Yeah.
They do their homework, and to come right out and throw him a straight change on the first pitch, they're not going to let them just do their thing. They're going to force them to play that 1 run here, 1 run there.
Without a doubt. I doubt that Bobby sees a fastball, and if he does, it won't be a strike because he is a great fastball hitter. So, they, of course, Louisiana's done their homework. They know what they're doing.
Pedro, what has this atmosphere for college baseball been like, just to be a part of it? As a visiting team?
The folks here in Lafayette have been tremendous to all of us Arizona parents. And they've invited us into their cookouts, their tents, and it's been pouring a lot, as you guys know. And they've just said, come on in. Here's food, here's pulled pork, here's jambalaya. Let's open the coolers, have whatever you all want. They have been incredibly hospitable, and it's almost like they are treating us like family in so many ways. And here we are, the opposition, but they have opened their hearts to us and their tents and you name it.
Really one of the special parts about college baseball, obviously the attention gets shined on Omaha, even for those that may not pay a lot of attention to the regular season. ESPN's tried to move the focus, of course, to the regionals to build momentum towards Omaha and really get teams that may never play for any reason before, throw them into an environment such as this and have a lot of fun for a weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that, I've traveled to a few of the Pac-12 venues, and this is definitely a unique venue. And I understand that Friday or Saturday nights are even more special. We had to move the game to today because of the rain, but it is a tremendous college experience. And I think, every boy here, every Arizona kid is going to come away with a very, very positive outlook of University of Louisiana as well as Lafayette. They've all talked about how everybody here is so incredibly nice to them.
And you know what? They take it back and they talk it over with their administrators on, what it was like there. And, we need to copy that. We need to try this. It's how the game grows.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. And a lot of times, you're right, Tom. The cross-country, that's not my phone, by the way. The cross-country, rivalries that you don't get to see a lot that you see in the regionals. But this could lead toward more of that, which I think does help the game grow.
Absolutely.
Get the feeling this is a big sequence already in this game. Dahlbeck waiting at a 2-2. Now the cannon's going full.
You notice the fastball's around the zone, not in it.
Yeah, nothing
again,
in the strike zone.
Another setup pitch coming.
He's had trouble with stuff down and away. So that's,
Boy, he's a big guy, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He'll be playing pro ball in just this summer. He's draft eligible. He will be drafted.
As a follow-up to that question, see if I have time, the 3-2 fouled back, pitcher or hitter?
In talking to scouts, they see him first as a position player, as a hitter, because of that power. I know he's had a couple of errors at third base. They moved him to left field just a couple of innings ago. But, third base is still a position of need at the big league level. Catching and third base are the two. You see a lot of players playing third base at the major league level who are not third basemen, and he is one.
Dahlbeck waiting on another payoff pitch and another foul ball back.
But the one thing they also say is that he's a safer draft pick because let's say for some reason the hitting, the position player part doesn't pan out. You've always got the backup, the safety net to move him to pitcher, say 3-4 years down the road, should it not happen. And that's what scouts have told me, that he's a safer pick in that sense.
Quite an at-bat here between Leger and Dahlbeck, the cleanup hitter for Arizona in this 4th inning. ESPN's Pedro Gomez joining us. Of course, he's got a son who pitched the other night, part of this outstanding Arizona pitching staff. Right now, these bats try to provide some runs for the Cats to get them back in this game. And a wave and a miss. Leger pulled the string.
Yep, there's your changeup. Yeah, I thought Rio had a tough situation the other day. Come in, you give you a 7-run lead, and you know that proverbial just throw strikes. And I don't buy that. You know, and I think Rio did that and got himself a little bit of trouble by throwing too many strikes.
Yeah, he threw 24 pitches, 16 were strikes.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
The one run in the 8th inning, okay, a couple of hits, a double and a single. The 9th inning is the one that kind of upset him more because he got the ground ball to third.
Yep.
That was the error.
Yeah.
He got the ground ball chopper up the middle. It probably should have been a double play, but the shift was in. But hey, you know, he knows that ultimately, at the end, he's the one responsible for that. So, you know, he was bummed that day, but as a pitcher, you've got to have a short memory. Be ready for the next opportunity.
Absolutely.
J.J. Matijevic, the batter, he struck out his only time in. See how much longer we have with Pedro Gomez here in the top of the 4th. That ball hit well to left field, starting to carry. And it will be off the glove and a fair ball. Fontenot couldn't make the play. Aguilar will score, and the Cats are on the board. It's a 4-1 game.
That's big right there. That's the answer we were talking about. And now you start to believe, hey, that 4-run spread can be reached.
It looked like Fontenot had a beat on it into the corner. There's not a lot of foul territory once he crosses the chalk as he got down there, tried to make the sliding catch, and ended up in the chain link fence.
And it's got a little slice in it right there. That ball's harder to play than what you think.
Yeah, the lefty batter, it's fading. It's fading on that left fielder.
And he has to go with the glove across the body on the way when he gets there, and he's 2 feet from the fence.
Hey, as purely as a dad and a fan, we'll take it. University of Arizona will take that. Just got to chip away, like I told you. Just a little bit to make yourself think that, hey, we can get this.
Right. And this guy's his ERA is 2.08, Pedro. I mean, he doesn't give up a whole lot.
Yeah. You can tell he knows how to pitch.
Yep.
He's not a thrower. He's a pitcher.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between the two.
And with the sun finally coming out.
I haven't seen this thing. What is that? What that is?
I
You
think
feel it now.
Run that pitch count up. Maybe get him out and get in their bullpen.
Kyle Lewis, the batter, a run home for the Wildcats here in the 4th inning. You know, we talk about Jay Johnson being unconventional, willing to maybe hit and run, move his third baseman to left field after 1 inning, bunt for 2 bases. What's the strangest thing you've seen this year?
You know, he shifts quite a lot. He shifts more than any Pac-12 coach. There's no doubt about that. They do a lot of scouting reports. I would say the strangest thing is when there's an intentional walk, if there is, you'll see if it's a right-handed batter, everybody moves to the right side of the field because his thinking is, look, if a pitcher were to leave one out a little bit, the guy's to lunge to it, let's have as many defenders over there in order to try to make a play. So if there is a situation with an intentional walk, you'll see.
I like that. Tom, we need to see that.
You'll see. The right fielder will move on the line. The center fielder will move to right field. The left fielder will move to center. The shortstop, second baseman, first are all over here because he wants to avoid the possibility of an intentional ball being left out over the plate.
I'm glad I asked. As Lewis takes a strike.
Well, I know somebody did that 2 years ago at Auburn University and got hit it out of the park. So
well, there's no defense for that one. There's no defense for over the
became
fence.
famous, you know, in the SEC.
2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Lewis. Base hit here would cut this Cajuns lead in half. 4,000 plus, trying to get Leger through this inning. Now the count has gone full to Lewis.
Lewis is a great story. He was recruited to go play at Nevada for Jay Johnson. Jay got the job at Arizona, told him, let's come to Arizona with me. He's from Lake Tahoe. His dad owns a golf course up there.
It's a tough
He's a
sell.
big golfer, exactly. But hey, Tucson, I think he'll take Tucson over Reno.
Plays some Pac-12 baseball, and he finds himself in a regional and a big at bat here as well in this 4th inning. A payoff. Now a couple of Cats on base.
Well, the umpire didn't give in to the crowd right there, huh? That would have been an easy right hand up and get that crowd on my side.
Tony Robichaux will pay a visit to the mound, so the Cats have a run in. And a couple of guys on base. Here's the 3-2 pitch from Leger.
Definitely a ball.
So Jared Oliva, who's coming up to bat here, is his father played, Dave Oliva played in the Boston Red Sox organization, made it to Double-A. So he's got definitely a baseball background, and I think I told you the other day, he's the fastest player on the team. Wiry, strong, but lightning fast, and he legged out a triple, I think, on Friday night. So he's definitely got the ability to hit the ball in the gap and be able to push.
Now, how much did Rio maybe get a chance to follow you around when you're working at the big league level and covering baseball?
You know what? During spring training, I had the opportunity to have him be bat boy a few times for a couple of the clubs during the Cactus League. And so I have pictures of him when he's 9 years old wearing the smallest jersey there is, and it may as well be a maxi dress down to his ankles. But, you know, he's been exposed to baseball from an early age, and I think that all helps. You talk to scouts and they all talk about how that is something that matters because they're not in awe when they do get in a situation or a surrounding where a lot of kids are in it for the first time.
Agreed.
And they make the decision that he has the passion and the love. He's not just playing it, he loves it.
Well, you know, I have another son who has talent but doesn't have that little extra, that heart, that desire that wants to be at this level. And you know, that's something that you talk to coaches, as you know, you can't put that in somebody.
Exactly.
You've got to want to be up at 4 in the morning to do your lifting and running to be ready that day.
Oliver watches that breaking ball rolled in for strike 2. Ball to the gap here would change the complexion of this game, but Legier's jumped ahead 0-2. Be the 65th pitch of his hot, humid afternoon here in Louisiana. Run home this inning for the Cats, but a chance to do more damage. Big swing.
Tried to get in on him a little bit right there and almost made a mistake. Almost got too much at home plate.
Arizona Wildcats have run off 11 straight wins in the postseason going back to that national championship in 2012, but this is their first regional appearance since in this huge second game facing the host Cajuns. Trailing 4-1 in the fourth. And time was called.
Yeah, I'm thinking run right here. You know, breaking ball opportunity for the pitcher. They're not holding either runner.
Right-handed batter.
Right-hand batter with 2 strikes. The 0-2 count's dangerous.
Jay takes chances. Jay, they steal a lot of bases. I think they led the pack in stolen bases.
See if they put the wheels in motion. Not going and away to the miss, and the Cats get around, but they strand 2. And Pedro Gomez, thanks for dropping some knowledge.
My absolute pleasure to be here, guys.
Enjoy it, buddy.
All right, take care.
He'll resume being dad. We'll talk with Tony Robichaux when we come back. 4-1 Cajuns.
Camera over here.
I'll talk, and then if you want to ask him about Leger second, that'll be fine. I'll just ask him about getting runs on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. Can you see me? Okay.
Hey, what's a pitch count?
For
I
Gunner?
got the second inning. Don't have the...
Good. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes.
Wonderful. We'll come right to you.
Okay.
You got a pitch count on Leger?
66.
Is it really?
I believe so.
66.
I'll have to
4?
dump. Well, he was at 45, and they pushed him to 21 right there.
Raging Cajuns lead Arizona 4-1 as we go to the bottom of the fourth, joined by the head coach Tony Robichaux. And Tony, the other night runs were tough to come by until late against Princeton, but you guys able to put 3 runs on the board early here today.
Well, that's important, you know, to try to get out to a good start and get our crowd behind it and let Gunner pitch behind that lead.
Tony, any concern about a pitch count, 65 after 4?
Yeah, you know, the biggest issue is we've had 2 outs and then it went 2-0, you know, and the old dreaded 2-0 with 2 outs, and then they got a base runner and they really pushed him last inning. So, yeah, there he is.
Well, he's the guy. He's the guy that fits Arizona. You matched him up perfectly.
Thank you.
Stay cool.
Okay.
Hot, humid day here at the Teague. That was a big sequence, though, Tom, going back to the top of the fourth to get out of it, a strikeout with 2 men on base to keep this a 3-run lead.
Yeah, those long at-bats right there ran that pitch count up in a hurry. And it is a different day. And I know they live here and they work here, but 65 and with this 90 degrees with 140% humidity, it's going to take its toll on anybody.
I would say you might be exaggerating, but if there's one man who would agree with you, it's probably the catcher Nick Thurman, who steps in with Salazar behind the plate.
Boy, you do wonder about that guy, don't you?
Like wearing that weighted vest for that chest protector by game's end.
Is that why the White Sox tried to wear shorts that one summer?
It was a bad look.
That was a bad look. Interesting, but bad.
Thurman hit a comebacker to Cloney to end the 3-run first inning. That's a fair ball. Nice pick by Aguilar. Take it himself for out number 1.
You got to believe there's going to be room in somebody's organization for a left-hand hitting catcher that has taken on the responsibility of calling the game and having played in all the important ball games he's played in here at Lafayette. That might be a pretty good senior sign to have behind the plate.
Anshak, the shortstop, popped to first his only time in.
This guy loads up like he wants to hit it out of town. I think Arizona would like to see Cloney have a quick inning right here. Maybe it'll allow him to go 6 or 7 for him and keep building on that momentum of that last inning, get another run on it, change the game.
Here's a 1-1. That didn't miss by much.
That's I don't know. That's my pet peeve. I don't know how a lefty can get it in there. It has to grab some part of the plate to get there, and it's supposed to be where it crosses the plate, not where the catcher catches it.
2-1 pitch on the way. Whipped into center.
And that's the difference. You go in, they can't swing. You go in the middle, they can swing.
Also turns the lineup over now for Brian Mills with a man on base.
That changes the purpose of the pitch, the next pitch. And this game is played pitch by pitch. People say that. That's not a worn out slogan, by the way. The game of baseball changes on a pitch.
Brian Mills is flying to right, flying to left.
He just missed last time. I thought he squared it up and got it out of here.
Good pitch at the knees for strike 1. Out of Hines Community College.
And I'm not picking on home plate umpire today. I'm just saying that it's hard to learn how to pitch in. And when a guy gets one that might be a ball in, I mean, you got to reward him every now and then.
Well, and he's been trying to keep those runners close over at first. He's probably yet to show the good move. He's pulled his pants down. He had him pulled up high, the high sock look early in the game.
Yeah, he got taller, didn't he?
Those lefties are a little different sometimes. Base hit, right center. Anshak never hesitated. Heads to third as Cajuns on the corners with 1 out.
He's used the whole field. Last time he pulls the ball, this time he goes to right center. And the 270 hitter. pretty good bat control right there. Well, it looks to me like we're waiting for somebody to get ready or something's going on. A little stalling action.
Now this crowd fully comes alive in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jay Johnson will pay a visit to the mound before Joe Robbins will bat.
At 4-1, do you bring Dahl back, even though you know he's your closer, and you want to stop this thing right now, or it's going to take somebody at least 15 or 20 pitches to get ready?
You know, other than the home run to Trosclair leading off the 3rd inning, Cloney hasn't pitched badly. Now the guy coming to the plate, and Joe Robbins, he's walked him twice, and that's complicated matters.
And this is a go-to. This is one of the rally guys in your batting order. One thing about it, and I know there was a little stalling going on right there, and that's a big part of the game of baseball, but he's going to have to face this hitter now, no question. And then you got a left-hand hitter coming up. So you really actually have 2 before you'd want to get a righty in there.
Here's Joe Robbins. Ground ball up the middle, but Raymer wasn't there. He was over near first base. Robbins makes it a 5-1 game.
Wow, there was no double play depth at all right there. I mean, that was more of a, like he was planning to hit and run or go the other way.
You see Raymer unable to get to his right to make that play.
Yeah, that was a double play ball.
And Mills went all the way to 3rd on that single from Robbins. For more coverage of the Division I baseball regionals and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. 5 runs on 6 hits for the Raging Cajuns, 1 run on 3 hits for Arizona. Arizona got a run at the top of the inning and left 2 men on base. And the Cajuns have come back. They've answered, and they're far from done, because here's Kyle Clement, the 3-hole hitter. 349 average up to 351 with a bunt hit in the 1st.
I think I'm going to get that run in right here. I'm going to drag bunt. Not going to take a chance on a double play ball.
Able to hold his swing back. He wanted to start against Clooney. Clooney came into this game with a 2.38 earned run average. Kind of the left-handed version of Nathan Bannister, who we saw throw 7 scoreless in game 1 against Sam Houston State.
With all the games inside the game that people play, and again, like I said earlier, all 3 of these ball clubs have been known to do some things in certain situations, and if you're going to leave your left-hand hitter in a lineup and keep him in a 3-hole, he's got to be one of your guys. But getting that runner in right here from 3rd with 1 out is important.
Soft chopper to 1st. Aguilar was going to try and get a double play. Clooney can't cover. Tommy had an option on whether he wanted to come home. And Mills able to score, and it's another run for the Cajun.
Again, the turf is not as quick as you might think. And that ball backed up on the bounce, and yeah, I think if he had it to do over again, he might have gone to the plate, played it safe, tried to get it out at the plate. Turning a double play right there, you know, that literally cost you a run.
6-1. Haven't put the run up on the board on the scoreboard yet.
Oh, they will.
Otherwise, these fans will.
Yeah, I think
bring this place down.
I think Jay's, you know, looking for a little help right there. And, you know, we had this play last night, and the guy came into second base sliding, and he went into the bag like you're supposed to, but he also went past the bag and took the shortstop out and created an automatic out call.
Oh, he didn't get down. And you see Boyd, the shortstop.
Yeah, that's interesting right there. As a matter of fact, that's kind of weird that he didn't slide at all.
That was Robbins going into second base. Run scores at 6-1. And here's Trosclair, who homered back in the third. Started the scoring with an RBI base hit in the first. You better not get picked off with Trosclair in the batter's box.
Well, when you don't go down at second base right there, you're asking to get hurt. And, you know, the guy's going to throw the ball to first base. If you don't go down, it can hit you right in the face. And that's one of the ugliest things in baseball. And, you know, it happened a long, long time ago. And one of the guys coming to second base took it in the face and died. And it killed him. And I wasn't a very good slider when I played, but I learned one thing: I'm going down. Not to hurt him, I'm going down.
I wonder if Robbins was even maybe expecting a play at the plate instead of a throw to second.
That's a tough call. You know what I mean? It's easier for you and I to make that call up here. You know, you got to go to the plate and get the front runner, and the ball literally brought him to the play. And he's left-handed. He's going to have to, you know, use his feet. We don't know how good his feet are, but I don't think it would have mattered right there. Even if the runner goes back to third, no harm.
Let's take a look at what Trosclair did in his last at bat in the third inning. Remember, he drove in the game's first run with the single. He hit one to left center beyond the reach of Dahlback into those trees near that scoreboard for his 7th home run of the year.
And this is normally a left-hand hitter's ballpark. Kind of plays that way.
Here's Trosclair's at bat in the third inning. Big fly. Remember, this was a guy last year that hit 16 of these.
Well, you can see the power loop. I mean, he's got it. I'd be real careful with off-speed stuff to this guy.
The fans have grown out on that shack in left field below the scoreboard, so maybe one went and retrieved that home run from Trosclair. We had just a couple of people out there, and as this ticket has become harder to obtain, more have found their way out.
I don't know. I saw an alligator walking out there in center field with a ball in his mouth. You know what? Nobody was chasing it down.
I understand. Standing in 2-0 to Trosclair.
Is that why you have to chew alligator when you eat it? You have to chew it a little bit more than chicken? That's a tough skin, huh?
Top of the lineup doing some damage for the Raging Cajuns. Two runs home in this fourth inning. Boy, Cloney almost looked like he slowed down his mechanics, but he still got the strike.
Man, I think Jay's going to have to make a decision pretty soon. We're right at that point. 5th inning, down 5. Do you leave this guy out and let him go as long as he can? Because it's going to take a whale of a comeback to come through the losers bracket to win this tournament.
Quicker move to first. Clement back in diving.
And the rallies have all been a little bit unique. You know, the home run, that's a quick rally. No harm done. And the infield chops and the ball that, quite frankly, looked like it was hit right into a double play, and they got nothing.
One of these games, if you start going back over certain sequences, whether it was the bunt that wasn't caught from Clement in the first, or the sacrifice safety squeeze that scored a run, or the double play not being turned this inning. I mean, they start to add up quickly.
Yeah, they do. And that's a coach's nightmare. Like right now, we're playing this guy absolutely dead pool. You know, we're deep at third. We're probably 3 steps in the hole at short. And there's 2 outs, so you're playing the hitter. My question, you know, right now is, are you pitching him to his strength and go in and let him hit it into the defense, or are you pitching him away with the idea that he's going to go out and hook it?
Count holds at 2-2.
It's almost like if you're going to do this and you're going to shift and you're going to play all the cybermetrics, if you're going to do that, you got to pitch to that. You have to say, it's pull hitter, let's let him pull it. And Cloney's not really a power guy. And I don't know if you want to throw the ball in, especially when he went halfway up that tree in left field last time.
Tom, I couldn't agree more. When you start shifting and moving, you've got to pitch to that scouting report. That one hammered beyond the bleachers back towards our television truck.
Now he just proved to us right there he wants to pull it. and he's got a fly ball swing. So, man, careful overdoing it. He could hit a routine ground ball right here, and it's a base hit.
Clooney continues to keep an eye on Clement over at first, even though he's facing this cleanup hitter in Trosclair.
Well, you never stop running. And again, I know sometimes people say, well, you're up 5-6 runs. Why are you running? I don't think the college game allows you to shut it down. And I've seen a lot of heated arguments across the field.
Double barrel activity going to that bullpen, and all of that sequence results in a hit by pitch, and Trosclair on again.
That was a little bit confusing to me right there, that whole sequence to that hitter.
Took it off the pocket.
I think they were trying to let him pull it, but they weren't going to give him a fastball to pull it. They were going to force him to pull the slider, pull a changeup. This might be his last hitter right here.
I was thinking the same thing with the lefty up. This will be the 65th pitch for Clooney. Conrad with an RBI in the game. 2 more men out there.
I was just getting ready to say, this guy's a good breaking ball hitter. And he's got that little slice built into his swing. And when I say good breaking ball, he's a good breaking ball hitter against left-hand pitching. Kind of fits it. And about 60 games into a season, you get that lineup pretty darn close to being accurate by this time of the year.
Conrad's such a slow starter, but over the last 2 weeks, he has been a red-hot hitter, as have many of these Cajuns in the heart of the lineup. Ground ball finds another hole. Clement around third will score easily, and they've added the extra point. It's 7-1 Cajun.
It's almost like if I can get a glove on this thing, you stop the run from scoring. But
another ground ball placed perfectly on the right side of the diamond to go along with 2 bunts that occurred in the first inning, just out of the reach of maybe getting it out.
it's almost like your scouting report is solid, and you're going to try to go with it and trust it. And there's been a couple pitches maybe in wrong locations, and a good ball club like Lafayette, if you don't pitch to the report properly, it's going to make you look a little awkward. I don't mean bad, awkward. And that's another ground ball right there. You feel like somebody's going to put a glove on it.
Pitching change is being made by the Wildcats. We'll step out. 7-1 Cajuns. For the Arizona AD and just check with him and see if that's SID, to see if that's Schnabel.
Is it Schnabel or Schnabel?
That's what I'm sending him in to find out.
Schnabel.
It is Schnabel. Wildcats have gone to the bullpen. Right-hander Austin Schnabel appearing for the 12th time. 14 2/3 innings of work.
Power guy, 89, 93. Big and strong slider ball. Split. Boy, he's got to come in and put some zeros on the board.
6'4" junior from Scottsdale, Notre Dame Prep. On the relief of Cloney. Can't get through this fourth.
I think it's 7-1 right here. This guy's either coming to wipe it out, or you might see a succession of one inning guys and see if your offense answers to get you back in the game.
Well, the Cajuns a 3-run first time. They got the home run from Trosclair in the third. A 3-run fourth inning. There has been no give, no relent in their offense to this point.
Yeah, they take what you give them, and they'll string base hits back to back, and you're playing in their house, and the pressure's certainly being used against the opponent, and every mistake that Cloney made on the mound, they made him pay for it.
Cloney came in with the top earned run average on the team in more than 90 innings of work, but also maybe a little bit unlucky today in the sense that some of those ground balls found holes, and all of a sudden the Wildcats staring up at a 7-1 deficit. This fourth inning not even complete, because here's Fontenot. Line to center in his last plate appearance. Good pitch for strike one.
And that ball had a little gas behind it. And again, you know, the average throwing lefty to the power throwing righty. Good contrast here. And actually puts more pressure on your offense than anything else. Arizona's going to have to respond.
On the move is Conrad, but that one fouled back from Fontenot. It's 0-2.
Every run you score from this point on for Lafayette has something to do with who he would throw out of his bullpen also. You know, you may be winning and you may be sitting there 2-0, but you're still thinking, what if? You know, what if I have to win, you know, 3 more games? You know, hopefully you'd like to knock it out in 2 more.
And should Arizona lose in this game, they'd be forced to play again. And then, of course, the hope would be they would get another crack at facing the Cajuns tomorrow. So if you're Louisiana Lafayette, you don't mind putting the foot on the accelerator a bit just to take some of that doubt about playing again.
And plus you're talking about doubleheader to doubleheader.
Only able to get 1 game in yesterday. That was an elimination game. So these 2 teams didn't even play yesterday.
And maybe it gave the Raging Cajuns a little time to figure out who was thrown against them and prepare for him. Because I know Jay was reluctant to tell us who he was starting in the first game, and you know, again, you don't know till you get here today who he's going to throw today. So they were prepared to face a lefty, and you know, they've played the game properly. And well, there's a reason why they're the #1 seed.
Riding an 11-game winning streak. Fontenot trying to continue this frame, but another pick to first.
And the comfort of being at home. What a beautiful thing. Before you know it, the next time they walk on the field, the crowd's going to be chanting Omaha. And the visitors are really going to get intimidated by that one. Boyd
should end the inning here, and will. And the 4th inning ends, but not before 3 more come across. We have completed 4 innings from Lafayette. It's been all Cajuns to this point.
I don't know, how did that ball get into up?
Still raindrops on that helmet, Tom, and we've had sunshine for the better part of 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sitting there looking at that UL. I think a lot of people around the country better start looking at it because this ball club looks more real the more we see of them. And again, you win championships with pitching and timely base hits, and they're kind of a ball club built around that. And you start wondering, you know, all right, who are going to be the final 16 standing? And normally this is the game you want to win because you become a big favorite to be in that final 16.
Maybe some people watching around the country that don't realize that Raging Cajuns are trying to get to a super regional for the 3rd straight year. They are the only non-Power 5 conference school to host of these 16 sites. And they are for real, and Arizona now has the work cut out for them to try and come back down 6. Salazar will lead off, the catcher hitting 8th. 1 pitch, 1 out, and that doesn't help the cause as Robbins gets back there to make the play.
Yeah, especially lefty on lefty.
What a program Tony Robichaux has built, and we sat down with him back on Thursday for about an hour. You know, he is an institution in this community. He has made this home. He has built this program up. They will build a new stadium starting in just a couple of weeks. And maybe, and you could argue this, obviously getting to Omaha is a big part of any massive formula. As Lewis Boyd bats, this could be the best 4-year stretch in this program's history with what they've put forth.
And the future looks really bright. And, you know, the new stadium will give him, you know, another door to open in recruiting. And let's face it, kids like new stadiums. They like the beautiful locker room. Those things, they're a factor because every now and then you feel like, you know, we were just one pitcher away. We were just one bat away. And that new ballpark, it just kind of gives you that feeling like we're going to get that next level kid.
2-1 is fouled back.
You know, Tony's had a lot of good assistant coaches come through here that he has gotten head coaching jobs for. And
here's the renderings of what this will look like next year. I mean, that's the exterior. It's going to be beautiful with the brick. Just missed to Lewis Boyd.
Did it miss? Did it miss?
I only said so because the plate umpire Mark Wagers did, but here's the inside of what the facility will look like next year. It's going to have 10 suites. It's going to have a club level. It might even have a television broadcast booth. And there's ball 4 to Boyd. It's going to be sensational.
We did remind Tony that it'd be nice to have an air conditioner or maybe 2 fans instead of 1. And no, I think Tony's done a wonderful job. And for him to have stayed here through his successes and you know, not get tempted to try to jump into an SEC, an ACC, or what do they call it, another power conference job. Tony's kind of determined to make this a power conference.
Call it the Fun Belt from time to time instead of the Sun Belt as Cody Raymer, the leadoff hitter, takes a strike.
Not many ball clubs will want to come in here and play his ball club, and you know, he may face that, and the guarantee program's probably going to get bumped because to get good people at midweek, you're gonna have to help them come in here, and it's already a place that's kind of been labeled a difficult place to play anyway.
You aren't kidding as Cody Raymer tries to get his first hit in 3 at-bats. Think about the talent. You've mentioned California a couple of times, Tom, and of course you've coached the different regions of the country. But how about Louisiana? We all know about LSU and their tradition of success, what the Cajuns have done recently. Tulane off to a great start in a regional. Southeastern Louisiana and at large out of the Southland Conference from this state.
No, I think when Smoke Laval and I would run around recruiting together, and Smoke was the assistant coach for Skip over at LSU. You know, I just kind of teased him a little bit about, like, where'd you find that guy? You know, where did you get that right-hander that was throwing 94 and that? And he said, Tom, you know what? Louisiana is, nobody knows much about it, but there are some great baseball players in the state. Unpolished, but great talent. And again, what Smoke did at what Smoke and it's what Skip did at LSU, but I think Smoke kind of made people aware that there's a lot of talent in this state. And I mean, you take a look around, you got Louisiana Tech. You know, that's
there's another. I forgot about
that. And Southeast Louisiana, those guys, McNeese, A lot of them have existed on Louisiana kids, and certainly LSU's the prime example.
Raymer trying to reach. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That's a strike. He was on his way to first. Now the count has gone 4.
You know, I think, again, when the pitchers live on the edge, umpires have to work a little harder.
Pretty good frame job there from Thurman, though.
I want that pitch if I'm pitching, you know.
Raymer has 84 base hits on the season. He'll stay alive. The next one will be the 80th pitch of this humid afternoon from Gunnar Leger, Lake Charles, Louisiana native, from one of the true powerhouse baseball programs around the country, Barb High School.
Gunnar looks like he's primed and poised to go all the way today.
He walked Boyd with 1 gone, then threw a wild pitch. Payoff to Raymer. Lifted very high to right field. Mills back near the wall. He's going to jump, and it is gone. It disappeared.
Look at the flag. You got just enough air up there to help that. And boy, that was sky high. And boy, did Arizona need that.
Just the second long ball of the season from the non-superstitious Cody Raymer. It's a 7-3 game. Well, I thought Mills may have made that catch as high as he got above the fence. Watch the end of this play. Watch Mills get to the wall and give it a valiant effort trying to climb up and possibly rob one.
Yeah, he fooled me. I thought he had it the way he just casually went back to the wall. And I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years from now, that ball went 500 feet to right. You know, that was a blast in a regional, and I'll never forget it. But Cody Raymer just put him back in the ballgame.
And now Zach Gibbons will bat. Gibbons singled in the 4th.
Right when you think your starter's just coasting and he's just a pitch away from a double play, that's what the home run does right there. I mean, that's why you still go out and hunt those home run hitters.
And that's why I think the way this game has changed back again, getting the home run as part of its DNA, has made these games more enjoyable. We know how tough it is at TD Ameritrade to hit balls out with the dimensions and the wind blowing in, but to see the uptick in homers in regionals, I think, has been tremendously exciting.
Yeah, and even though it was against the Raging Cajuns, they got a kick out of that home run. And I mean, let's face it, 7-1, our home team's cruising. You're thinking about, like, what are we going to do for dinner? And right now, they're going to be around here for a while. They're not going to leave this place quite so quickly.
This will be pitch number 85 for Leger, and he just issued a 5-pitch walk. That's 3 straight base runners that have reached.
I like this guy on the mound. I mean, it's really loose out to the fingertips, and that home run right there, that ball just stayed up a little bit, and the guy got a chance to turn, and he didn't really crush it. He got it out of here, and certainly not enough to warrant taking a guy out. You know, you'd like to get a little bit more out of him in the 5 innings. I thought he was in cruise control.
He gets the out to start this frame on 1 pitch. One pitch, 1 out, and then walk the 9-hitter. And the leadoff hitter with 1 home run all year, and Cody Raymer, although he's been, by average standpoint and base hit standpoints, one of the top hitters in the country. Maybe a little bit of surprise to see a 2-run bomb, and it's forced some activity to get going in the Cajuns' pen.
Well, this is what Sam Houston wants. Sam Houston would like to see these two guys play about 20 innings and burn about six arms, and then they feel like they're back in it.
Ryan Aguilar. Take one just off the corner.
Wow.
For whatever team that has to play again tonight, hydration is going to be a huge part of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And with another rain delay, they're not going to have as much time in between games.
Aguilar hit that ball on the screws. Clement has to retreat, but he's able to make the catch, and that ball just about got over his head.
I think that's the hardest ball hit today by either ball club.
Started to slice again towards Clement, able to reach up and make the play. Doesn't get any easier, though, with Bobby Dahlbeck. Now, he struck out both times in today. Pedro Gomez joined us in the fourth. He was talking about how this kid just hammered balls last year and then went to the Cape and did the same thing. Homered on Friday, just 6 on the season, but always capable every time he steps in that box.
Now, again, here's another opportunity. Cut that lead in half with a big fly right here.
It's 12 for his last 23 coming into this game. And you look at the overall average, 258, and he'll be the first to admit that he put a lot of pressure on himself early in this year to even have better numbers this campaign.
Now, again, if people hunt for power, and they do, and then somebody tells you got power, the one thing you got to understand is home runs are accidents. You know, when you try to start hitting home runs, that's when it breaks your swing down. And this guy didn't have to try. I mean, he's God-given strong, and all he's got to do is learn to make good contact. Home runs will happen.
I like that. Home runs are accidents because I think it's a great teaching tool for these kids, right? I mean, it's more of a bad pitch that you can square up than you powering the ball out of the park.
Yeah, trying to hit a home run's hard. I mean, we've seen some guys make it look real easy.
Gibbons will run. That one fouled back over our heads.
But mentally, as you're adjusting and learning how to play this game, you got to wipe that thought out. Try to hit the ball hard somewhere. Just let it take its own course.
I don't want to start a story with 2 outs and 2 strikes, but before this regional's over, you're going to have to tell me about Pete Incaviglia, what it was like coaching him when he stepped in the box. 2-2 to Dahlbeck. Gibbons will run again, and there's a base hit to left field, so Dahlbeck hangs in there. And since Gibbons was off with the pitch, he'll continue to third, and there's Wildcats on the corner.
I like the idea the left fielder threw the ball to second base. I mean, that's the right play, but he kind of came around second and teased him just a little bit, like, here, take a shot at me at third. And would have been important if Dahlbeck could have got second base right there.
Brings up J.J. Matajevic. He homered on Friday, and a long ball here would make this a 1-run game. And Leger now well up over 90 on the pitch count. You start to leak a little bit of oil and run out of gas in this humidity.
Yeah, having him out there. And I know Tony told us that they really work on the mental aspect of not allowing their pitchers to think pitch count.
How about that breaking ball for strike one?
That he places a high emphasis on the lower half of the body carrying you when you might think your pitch count's high. I thought that was pretty unique when it's how he deals with his pitchers on pitching in humidity and heat and against the pitch count. Let your legs carry you. It doesn't look like he's laboring to me. I mean, it's just it's almost like you feel Arizona fighting for their life right now.
Got a little bit of body language there with Leger when he gave up that hit and that long at bat to Dahlbeck. It'll be forgotten if he can get Matajevic. He doubled in a run in the fourth. He has 2 men on base here in the fifth. And rules 1 foul.
Now, the simple fact is the bullpen's up. And every ball being thrown in that bullpen is being counted. And once you get somebody up in this kind of heat and humidity, you can sit him down and bring him back. And if you don't get him the next time, you can do that. But it's gonna be still stuff that counts against that pitch count when the guy finally arrives on the mound. And I know some schools don't have the luxury of having a bullpen coach, but you got to keep track of that.
Matajevic has a chance to really get the Wildcats back in this game. Pitch number 98 this afternoon from Leger. We'll play on in this fifth inning.
No, ladies and gentlemen, that was a ball. And people looking inside the press area here, they want to see our monitors.
2 runs home this inning. Runners on the corners. Roller to third. Robbins will go across the diamond to end the 5th inning. Wildcats get a couple. They strand a pair. We'll talk with Arizona head coach Jay Johnson when we come back.
Brad, it's kind of funny you mentioned Pete. Pete's brother played for Arizona.
Hey, guys.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
There you are. Thank you. We'll come right out to you.
There.
7-3, the Raging Cajuns with the lead over Arizona, and the Wildcats head coach Jay Johnson joins us. Jay, your team's been kind of running uphill since the 1st inning, but that Raymer home run and then making Leger work in the 5th, it's going to change the complexion of this game a bit.
Yeah, I thought our at-bats totally changed the last inning, 3rd time through the order, which is great to see. We just got to stick with it. It's a good team over here. They're going to keep coming at us offensively, so we got to do the same.
Jay, you going to stay with your bullpen the rest of the way, or are you thinking about maybe holding a starter for the 2nd game?
Well, we got to manage that. I like how Austin came in and threw strikes last inning. We're going to try to get another inning or 2 out of them. They have good left-right balance, so we're going to have to match it up to try to keep it right here and see if we can get back in it and maybe get some of their bullpen in the game.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Jay Johnson, first year at Arizona. Last year at Nevada, he went 41-15. 0-2 in the Mountain West tournament. He didn't make a regional. And when he came to Arizona, he promised the 7 seniors who the 3 previous years had not had this opportunity, he was going to get him here. And he has, and they won their opening game, but trailing 7-3 in the bottom of the 5th. Schnabel back out there. He's faced 1 batter. He'll look at Pinheiro, Thurman, and Anshak.
And it has changed. When Schnabel came in, it was almost like, I don't know whether I'm here to kill it or not, but now you're within a, 1 swing on a grand slam of being back into a tie, and your job now is to put a 0 up, get the momentum back in your dugout, get back to the bats.
Pinheiro with a sac fly. Schnabel, kind of that old-fashioned windup, bringing his hands behind his head, and Pinheiro will start the 5th with a base hit.
Ryan! Looked like he jammed him a little bit, but the ball pretty good in the left center. And
welcome back to the 2016 NCAA Baseball Regionals, presented by Capital One. Brett Dolan, Tom Halladay here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Raging Cajuns led 3-0 after 1 inning. 4-0 through 3. Here in the 5th inning, a leadoff man on for Nick Thurman. Thurman, the senior catcher, has caught every single game, every single pitch. Most outstanding player, the recently completed Sun Belt Conference Tournament, San Marcos, Texas State.
interesting, still respect for the short game right here.
Thurman's had 12 sacrifices this season.
I think Tony would like to have that extra run. That 5-run lead always makes you feel good.
Schnabel would have a play at second, but he only looked at first.
Yeah, he would if he is that really good athlete pitching, because you guys still got to get that ball and make a quick turn and be sure that you get your right foot up underneath you. Some guys are really, really good at being a defensive pitcher. Some guys, like I said earlier, they just make sure they can pick that one up right there and get it out.
Get the sure out.
Yeah.
Anshak singled and scored in the fourth.
And here we are again with that deep shift in the ground ball hole at short.
Well placed bunt. No chance at first.
But for a guy that has a great arm, I mean, that throw to first was looked like a changeup. And obviously, inside the scouting report, they know something, because it looked to me like he just wanted to get it down and see if the guy could defend it.
Ninth hit for the Raging Cajuns. It also turns the lineup over with runners on the corners for Brian Mills. The ESPN networks bring you every game on the road to Omaha. Starts in these regionals with coverage on ESPN2, the SEC ESPN network, or watch ESPN. Bases loaded. Hey, that's your best friend this time of the year. Whip around coverage available on Watch ESPN and ESPNU at all games. Also available on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. What do we do before that app, Tom? You had to dial up old-time videotape and request game tape.
Yeah, talk to a lot of people.
Get on that phone.
Yeah.
The one attached to a wall, not the cellular variety.
Absolutely. A lot of time in your office.
Looked like a safety squeeze was on. Mills pulled the bat back, and Anshak ends up swiping second base. I watched Pinheiro break down the line, but he slammed on the brakes.
Fake bunt and steal. I love it. I love it. The catcher has to stay back.
Jay Johnson out to talk to our umpire, Mark Wagers. What's he talking about here, Tom?
I don't know, maybe the pitcher's shirt not being tucked in. I mean, or just, what are you doing talking to my pitcher? I mean,
he's pointing towards third base.
well, you know what? When you're doing that fake bunt still, you know, and your dugout yells, squeeze, and your pitcher comes in like he was getting ready to flip that ball to the catcher. Well, he didn't have to, because it was a steal. And it was all very well planned. And again, it kind of hurts your feelings at times, but they're allowed to yell whatever they want out of that dugout.
I don't know if he thought maybe Mills impacted the throw at all from Salazar or not, because the umpires are going to confer. So this is interesting. Four-man crew will get together behind the mound. Jay Johnson at least got them to get together to discuss his objection.
Well, if it's interference, the catcher has to throw the ball. If the catcher doesn't throw it, there's no interference. And, you know, it's sad. No throw. No call.
Clearly no interference on the batter.
No. It's just a well-executed play.
But Arizona doesn't want to fall any further behind than 4, and there's a couple of men in scoring position. And the leadoff hitter down in the count, 0-1.
Little contact hitter now. You're just going to have to force him to hit one right at somebody. And I don't know exactly what pitch you throw to make that happen. Look at your best stuff.
Schnabel misses down, 1-1. Raging Cajuns have never trailed in this game. They scored 3 in the first. Home run by Arizona's Cody Raymer chipped into the deficit in the top of this inning. And now the fans involved. That extra element here at the Teague. It's 2-1.
I think somewhere in this at bat, you're going to have to think about putting this guy on and keeping a double play alive.
Infield in all the way around on this carpet that really has not played fast. In fact, it's almost chewed up some ground balls.
I agree.
Making it more important to sometimes even charge a ground ball if you're playing in. Here comes the squeeze. The bunt is not caught. That leaves one play. Hey, 2 runs are going to score on this play. Anshak never stopped. The bunt wasn't a good one. It was nearly caught. Instead of a double play, 2 runs come across.
That is absolutely well coached, well planned, well executed. And right now Arizona's a little bit humiliated, and the pitcher kind of fell in the trap. He almost didn't even get anybody to first base to take that throw.
And Tom, how much did the second baseman Raymer covering impact not having a play at the plate?
A lot. And hey, that's a tip your hat to the guy in red. And now you got to really rebuild mentally, because that's kind of play right there that everybody on defense right now is second guessing themselves.
Joe Robbins, the batter, bases empty, 2 outs, but 2 in. A base hit to start things, a sacrifice bunt, a bunt single, a stolen base on a fake safety squeeze, a suicide squeeze that plates 2 runs.
I don't know that I've seen that without a throwaway. You know, without an error, a drop at first base, or some malfunction.
Or even a play back at the plate. I mean, there was no chance.
No play. Just, and not even close. I don't even know they knew what was going on. It was almost like, is that the first guy or is that the second guy scoring?
9-3, Louisiana Lafayette.
And they've done it every way imaginable. And I think some of this Jay has in his own bag of tricks, and that makes it hurt even worse.
4-pitch walk. Joe Robbins has been on base every single plate appearance today, and he's 1 for 1 with an RBI and a run scored.
I think the guy on the mound right now is beat up emotionally. I mean, there's been 3 bunts in this inning that have played into this, you know, explosion, this 2-run explosion.
Jay Johnson wants to make a pitching change. He called for the left-hander. Another multi-run inning. 2 more runs across. Cajuns lead the Cats 9-3 in the 5th. Arizona's gone to the bullpen again. Cody Moffitt on for the 14th time this season.
Cody's not a real overpowering guy, 85, 87 guy, but I think his combination of curveball and changeup, again, looking for a little contrast coming off the hard-throwing right-hander. And somebody's got to stop the bleeding here. I mean, the Raging Cajuns have scored in every inning except the second inning, and starting to make it a long game. And again, I don't know that the guy that ends up playing in the second game wanted to play a long game in the first one.
Agreed. Take an overview of this NCAA tournament. There's your top 8 national seeds. Clemson, they lost to a team called Oklahoma State.
Yeah, in a big way. And I'm kind of anxious to see how many of that second 8 are still alive. And it's kind of a game you play. You know, you want to see just how accurate everything was. And somewhere in that first 8, you're going to have somebody playing for a national championship.
Ole Miss and Vandy, a couple of host schools, 2 and done.
You kind of felt like Vandy needed, maybe deserved a couple days off before they started that regional.
You know, the amazing part was, even with the passing and the drowning of that talented young pitcher, they were going to play until rain pushed them back, but Xavier put it to them in game 1, and they just never recovered.
And I think Vanderbilt's probably the program in the country right now that people are trying to style after. To me, he's one of the best in the business.
There's a pick that works. Joe Robbins is erased.
Went back and tagged him twice. I mean, that's a signal. I might have missed him the first time. Just act like you got him, even if you didn't get him.
It's 9-3 Cajuns. Crying out loud.
How about that? Get 2 RBIs on a bunt.
They said it's the second time this year it's happened.
Be cheating.
We go to the top of the 6th inning. Gunnar Leger, his day is done. Cajuns fans enjoying a humid afternoon here at the Teague. Meanwhile, Jevin Huval comes on out of the bullpen to pitch to Arizona here in the 6th.
Well, you know, the game really slowed down, and you start to wonder, like, he struggled. Maybe we just go get a fresh arm out there, and it's kind of nice to walk into a ball game this time of the year and have a 6-run lead.
24 appearances now for Huval, 3-1, a couple of saves. Only 12 walks and 33+ innings of work. Junior out of Breaux Bridge.
Leading off for Arizona, third baseman, number 28, Kyle Lewis.
Kyle Lewis will lead off, followed by Oliva and then Salazar. 6, 7, and 8. Lewis walked back in the 4th. It came with 2 outs, but Oliva struck out to strand 2. Cats scored 2 in the 5th, but also left 2 more men on base. Meanwhile, the Raging Cajuns have had 3 multi-run innings.
Got a little juice in that arm. Guy 90-91. Straight downhill.
Misfired on all 3 since replacing Leger, who went 5 innings, giving up 3 earned runs. It's a big hat for the first row. Better get to know that person behind you. He's going to be leaning on your shoulder a lot during the game.
Yeah.
And that's ball 4, so a good beginning for the Cats here in the 6th inning.
Man, that's the way it's drawn up. Come out here and force action.
Batting out from Arizona, center fielder number 42, Jared Oliva.
Here's Oliva. So for 2.
You know, for a guy that can really run, maybe try to get another runner on right here. Give them a little bit of their own game.
How about this? Down 6 runs. Arizona trying to steal, and gunned down easily is Lewis.
You know, I'm not so sure that that's not a hit and run, and I have no problem with that because you still got to keep playing the game. You might want to wait and see if this guy on the mound has enough command to play hit and run. Sometimes it's hard to play hit and run with guys that don't have good command.
You almost beat me to my question. In fact, you did. I was going to pose that right to you. He hasn't been around the zone a lot since coming on out of the bullpen, and
it's the #1 reason why I didn't play a lot of hit and run. That's just me. You know, a lot of people like hit and run. It creates movement, gets people out of position, and Jay's got to do what he can right now to get back in this game. And he's going to manage 2 games, whether he likes it or not. He has to manage this one out, and in his mind, start getting ready for the second game, which is going to be, you know, an hour and a half after this one.
that leadoff walk erased, and Oliva quickly down on strikes, and there's 2 gone. Hey, I mentioned Pete Incaviglia earlier, and you see the strikeouts go up for these Cajun pitchers. You mentioned to me between breaks, as we see Oliva Chase, that his older brother played at Arizona.
And his older brother gave me a tip. I was a JV coach in Arizona State at the time. Even the JV game was pretty heated, and Tony looked over at me and made a joke about how serious it was, and he says, "Hey, coach," he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know I got a little brother you might want to look up in a couple of years." And I said, "Oh yeah?" I said, "Now, how good is he?" He says, "He's real good, and he can really hit." And Tony was a good player, and so I said, "Hey, fine, bud, thank you." And I think it's because, you know, we had conversation in between innings, and we played Minnesota in a regional, and they came in there with Terry Steinbach, and Coach Ward said to me, "Boy, I'd like to have a couple of those big, strong guys like that." It's amazing how the bodies Minnesota has on that baseball team. Well, when you're young and you're in this business for the right reasons, you know, I started looking for some bigger bodies and tried to find somebody, and just clicked in my mind. I wonder what that Incaviglia kid's doing. And went back and ran Tony down, and he gave me the background, and I flew to California. And really the funny part of the story, I went to a Northern California tryout, and Pete had been eliminated. They already cut him because the first thing they did was defense, and they didn't like him as an infielder. And, you know, I begged the guy, please let me see him swing the bat. Do you know how good a hitter he is? And the guy says, "No, Tom, they just cut him based on infield, outfield." I said, "Yeah, let me see him swing the bat." I said, "All right, we'll let him hit." So the next phase of the tryout was to let him hit. And believe me, after they saw him hit, he made the team. And I stayed, recruited him, and we lucked out and we got him.
Haug, the pinch hitter, down on strikes. 5.5 complete. Cajuns by 6.
Brett, you could bring that back because, I mean, they just 2 weeks ago they came out with the top 5 players in college baseball history, and Pete was the #1 guy.
Yeah, why don't we wrap it? Coming back.
And we're back.
Kyle Clement leads off the bottom of this 6th inning, 9-3. The Raging Cajuns with the lead over the Wildcats, and that ball's hit well to right center field. Avava can't get there. It's going to go all the way to the center field wall. Clement's not going to stop at second. A good throw may have him at third, but it's not a good one, and he's in there easily.
Yeah, not a good relay from the outfielder to the shortstop, and not a good throw from the shortstop to third. This is what I was talking about. You get a little bit humiliated, and all of a sudden there's 8 minds that are going in the wrong direction. They're focused on this game, and at 9-3, you start thinking about, man, we're gonna have time to eat. Wow, we got to turn around and beat Sam Houston in the second game. Now you still got 4 innings to play here, and that ball was starched, and you'd like to think that a good double relay right there, and you got him, and it didn't happen.
Looks like Jay Johnson may want to make another pitching change, and it gives us time, Tom, to finish your story. You were talking about Pete Incaviglia, how you got a tip on him after his brother played at Arizona. It wasn't that long ago they came out with the rankings of some of the best college players of all time.
Yeah, I think the number 5 guy was Olerud. Number 4, Bobby Horner. Number 3, I'm having a hard time. Number 2, Robin Ventura, and number 1 was Pete Incaviglia.
Couple of Cowboys.
And when you think back over Pete's career, I mean, he hit 100 home runs in 3 years of college, and that certainly stands out. And for a guy that some people really questioned where he was going to play. Now, out of high school, he was an infielder, and after his freshman year, we watched him do everything, and he did everything 100%. To just go to the outfield and shag, and we watched him, and Coach said, no, he's going to be a pretty good outfielder. And by the time, at the end of his freshman year, we had him in the outfield. By the time he was a sophomore, he was a good college outfielder. And his junior year, he actually ended up playing right field and had a good arm. And nobody worked harder than Pete Incaviglia. Certainly his asset was his bat, but his dream was to play in the big leagues. And I think 14 or 15 years later, he reached that dream. And he was a lot of fun to be around. And again, for your colleagues to rate you the number 1 player in college baseball history, that's quite an achievement.
Robbie Medell is on. This will be his 12th appearance, 1 and 3, a 6.46 earned run average. Tom, you get back to your earlier point about managing the game. We saw Haug pinch hit for Salazar catching last inning and in there now, and that's probably a case where you want Salazar available for game 2, so you need to get him out of there and let him rehydrate.
Yeah, I think Jay's got a lot of work to do mentally right now. You know, rebuilding this ball club, making it and convincing them that, okay, we've got a little bit abused right here. We got to finish this one, win one more, and then we get these guys back tomorrow. And you know, they only have to play a doubleheader today, and you wonder how many arms he brought that are usable, and some of them may have to double up today. But I think getting that catcher out of the game is a big move. Could be hard to catch a doubleheader in this humidity.
First batter Medell has to face is Trosclair, the cleanup hitter. He's homered today. He's been on base all 3 times. Infield in. Even with the infield in, look how close the shortstop Boyd and the third baseman Lewis are. There's all kinds of room up the middle. If we get an up top shot.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, is this halfway or is this in? It almost looks in on the right side, halfway on the left.
As hard as Trosclair can make contact, I'd hate to be too far in on that left side.
And this guy's not a flamethrower. This is an 84, 88 guy and 3-pitch pitcher, but at the same time, you know, do you try to get an out here and stop this thing, or?
Leadoff triple from Kyle Clement.
I think Jay's looking for somebody to give him some innings here. Try to, you know, close down that bullpen for the afternoon, so that tonight it's a little bit more fun going in there with some fresh guys.
Still nobody out, bottom of the 6th.
It's pretty shallow. I don't think that's going to do it. Not with that arm in left.
Remember Dahlbeck, a tremendous pitcher.
Oh, he challenged him.
He just spiked one into the carpet, and another run comes across. The Cajuns have reached double figures, 10-3.
Yeah, that was absolutely no respect to that guy's arm and left. So you got an out. Now you got to build off of that. The Raging Cajuns are telling you, they're making a statement. They're going to play aggressive, and you're in my yard, and you're going to play my way. If you don't like it, we're going to run right over you. And 10-3 in a championship game, that's pretty impressive.
3 RBIs in total for Trosclair in 3 different innings. So 1 out, 1 in. Here's Bryn Conrad, and he'll take a strike.
Yeah, you got that one by just putting the ball in play, huh? Good things do happen when you put the ball in play. That's kind of a reward.
Boy, the 10 runs feels like a lot for the Cajuns, and it should. We have seen some high-scoring games as well in these regions.
And this is our first one that looks like, you know, it might get out of hand. And I mean, the Raging Cajuns are known for their pitching and defense.
One inside one today, just one. That's all.
I don't know if you can score 10 runs against them in one game.
Dahlbeck handled the previous fly ball, and he'll have another chance. 2 gone.
Brett, I got a question for you, Brett. You've been around the game a long time, and why do you have sunglasses on your hat when the sun's out?
And boy, what clouds that were
serious.
up there, they evaporated pretty quickly because it was slightly overcast about a half hour ago. Not now. It's bright sunshine.
We actually have sunshine, and it just kind of, maybe I'm asking a question that I'll never get answered, but
They look good on the top of your hat.
does it really? I mean, what if you take off and they fall off and you step on them? Just another $200 or $300. I don't know what they cost, but
I think you're on the right path.
I don't know if I'd want it to be balancing the glasses on my hat. I think I'd either put them on or put them in my pocket or leave them in the dugout. Or
Chopper to third. Lewis will make that play, and the inning ends. A leadoff triple, a sac fly, and the Cajuns add to their lead through 6. They're up by 7.
The red's brighter. They have 3 times they've given up 10.
10 or more. 10. Welcome back to the 2016 NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. Is that the sun again, Tom, coming through the clouds?
Beautiful. Now the red looks red. I mean, it's been so dark that I couldn't tell if it was red or orange. And everything looks pretty. The trees are awfully green.
I'll tell you what, the red will be a different shade of red if you sit out there the entire game.
I wonder if the trees down there ever change colors. I mean, with all the moisture, they stay green all year round. Beautiful background. I love trees for my hitting eye. I think that's beautiful.
Lewis Boyd ready to lead off this 7th inning for Arizona. Walked and scored in the 5th. Scored on a 2-run homer from Raymer, who's on deck. Good bunt, third base side. Robbins hoping it'll go foul, and there's the hometown bounce.
Yep.
Rolled foul.
That's right about where you and I walked out yesterday, and it's a different terrain. Looks flat, but it's got ridges in it. And that ball took a definite directional change. Arizona knows they got to have base runners. You're not going to get a 7 spot on one swing. Collect base runners, make them use their bullpen, try to see it.
You posed the question earlier, with the team built on pitching and defense, how many times this year have the Cajuns given up 10 runs? Well, 3 times they've given up 10 or more. Only 1 time have they given up more than 10, and that's what it's going to take to defeat them here today. Otherwise, you're faced with the prospect of turning around and playing an elimination game of your own against a rested Sam Houston State team.
And that's, again, why you don't start taking players out and do wholesale changes if you're Arizona. You want Lafayette to burn some of those guys. I mean, keep the field even. If you let this guy come out and finish the game right here, and then it almost looks lopsided, like they have, way more arms, and you want to get into a long tournament now.
Robbins will handle that ground ball. Strong throw. 1 out, 7th inning.
And I think Tony will do all he can. If he beats you 10-9, it doesn't matter right here. He's going to do all he can to save arms and at no time jeopardize losing this ball game. 2-0 is where you want to be in regional baseball.
Such an incredible driver's seat position. Had the benefit of sitting back and watching those other teams utilize their arms and burn them up.
Well, somewhere in the 16 regional field, somebody will come from 1-1 and win it in a tournament. Not all the 2-0s will win. It's just the way the percentages over the years. And those are the fun stories. Those will be the stories going into the super regionals. This team came back from 1-1 and won the regional.
This is the 4th year ESPN has been broadcasting all the regionals. As Raymer takes a strike. My first 2 years, I had teams on the road come back from 1-1 to win. And last year, were it not for the craziest comeback of all by TCU at home against NC State, it would have been all 3 years.
So you've seen what I'm talking about. And again, mentally, you just don't know where it's going to happen. But also, it's the thing you got to fight. You know, you got to keep that positive mental thing. And I think Jay in his first year here in Arizona has done a wonderful job. This might be the most difficult period he's had to deal with this next 3 or 4 innings.
You get to a point, though, Tom, that you're going to need somebody to step up who probably has not been a big contributor, say, in the last month. It's going to be somebody that started a midweek game, hasn't been part of the weekend rotation, somebody that's going to have to give you a lift at some point in the next game or possibly tomorrow.
Right. And, you know, maybe a closer that starts the ball game to make sure you get off on the right foot. Some teams come from behind well, and some teams don't. And from listening to all 3 of these guys, they all like to add on, peck away, play the short game. When you don't hit the long ball, coming from behind is pretty tough.
Cajuns may not be done scoring either. There's ball 4 to Raymer. Walks with 1 out in the 7th. Huval puts him on.
Well, every time the Cajuns score, it's closer to that flex defense. You can give up a couple without taking a guy out. You don't have to manage a game quite so tight, you know, and get him out after a walk or a walk in the base hit. You let him maybe pitch through it, look for that, search for the ground ball out.
Zach Gibbons takes strike 1. '86 hits on the year for Gibbons. Raymer with his home earlier has 85. So these teammates have been going back and forth for not only the team lead in hits, but they were chasing the conference lead, and they were having a good old-fashioned competition. They were the 1 and 2 hitters on their California League summer team. So pitchers have been dealing with this Raymer-Gibbons duo for the better part of a full year.
They are truly, really good college baseball players. That's, you know, where their career takes them, you don't know. You won't find that out for another week. You know, the draft is coming up, and again, when you're still playing and the draft hits, well, you talk about a challenge. Now that's a challenge to deal with kids that have been drafted, either are disappointed because of where they went in the draft, or if they don't get drafted, they get destroyed. You got to rebuild them.
Wave and a miss.
And you're in championship play period in
Right.
college baseball, and here comes the draft.
You think about that. When we got to town the other day, LSU still covered quite a bit in this area, even though the Cajuns have a great fan base. And Paul Maneri was making headlines. He has 15 draft-eligible players facing the prospect of maybe being in a super when all of those guys have life-changing options coming up. Chop it to first. Pinheiro will handle it to end the inning, and he said, hey, that would never happen in football and basketball, and he's right.
Yeah, we can talk about this when we come back.
It's time for the 7th inning.
Louisville, Wright State. fans up, stretching them out here at the Teague. A football score, 10-3. The Cajuns in front. The Cajuns get set to bat the bottom of the 7th. Pinheiro, Thurman, and Anshak. Tom, we went to break talking about the uniqueness of college baseball with the draft coming up next week, right in the middle of the Supers. So teams that are good have a lot of players that'll probably be drafted, which means a coach has a lot of players dealing with multiple influences. As Pinheiro flies to right, should be one pitch and out, and is. And that's got to be a tough spot for any coach, having to deal with all of that and prepare his team for their most important games of the season to that point.
You know, Brad, there's no secret that LSU is one of the college baseball powerhouse baseball programs, okay? And normally when you consistently stay at the top, you have great players, and great players get drafted, and that's why they go there. And Paul, I'm sure he's been there long enough to know that you better have a counseling day, you know, sometime around this playoff period, to where you sit there and say, listen, let's get this thing out on the table. You went in a round. Are you happy with your draft? You know, and most of the time, kids are happy. Sometimes it's off by a round or two from what they've been told. Now, the guys that get drafted way down from what they're told, those are the ones you got to rebuild. The guys that go real early, and the piece of advice they get instantly, whether it's from family or advisors or whatever, don't get hurt. Whatever you do, don't get hurt. Those are tough things to deal with as a head coach, and I think that's why you build that unity, that team thing. You know, are we still trying to win something, or is it over with the draft? Does the draft end your college career, or how about what your 25, 30-man roster does? What's more important to you? And you got to challenge the players to stay united.
Boy, it is a challenge. Nick Thurman bats with one gone. You can't imagine, say, a college football national championship game held a day after the NFL draft. Thurman will roll it up the middle for a base hit. 11th hit for the Cajuns in this game. The other part of that is you got guys on the bus going to the ballpark looking at what cars they want to buy.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Instead of spending that money.
Major League Baseball, they've met on this issue. There's a committee that gets together in the offseason, and I think they've looked at maybe moving the draft down with that in mind. And now, when the draft hits, there's a period before kids are signing. You don't rush in there and try to quick sign them anymore. Seniors, yeah. Most high school kids, they want to play the game a little bit to get some more money, and they want to use their college leverage, and that's all part of it. And I think with the rounds being slotted now, it takes away the tension, and some kids are sore, and the major league team wants to see if they're healthy. They give them a little time to get healthy before you sign them. But more importantly, they're not as worried about getting them signed right away. And why not move the draft back, 2 weeks, clear the seasons. Most high school seasons are over, and it's a question more than anything else. I'd like to see a college all-star game, personally. I mean, I'd like to see all the kids that don't get to play in the College World Series. I'd like to see them have an all-star series where you bring them together and let the pro people not combine it, but almost like a combine. Try to bring in the best, give them that one last look before the draft. And, we don't have that in baseball.
It's an interesting idea.
Why not? I mean, if we don't have a combine, you could bring in 80 of the top college players. Let the major league scouts pick those 80 guys. I'm sure some agents would probably fight that off and really not want to have them throw. But again, you don't ask them to throw more than maybe a couple innings in a game.
Medell nearly threw that one away in a pickoff. Anshak with a couple of base hits, 2 runs scored from the 9-hole today.
I mean, we're kind of almost sounding like this game's over at 10-3. I've seen crazier come from behind wins. And again, are they going to stop the running game now, or are they going to keep running? I think they're going to keep running. I don't think you turn it off at 7.
Think about Thurman. He is the catcher. Shorter lead at first.
Now that does weigh into it. But are those picks being called from the dugout, or is the guy on the mound just throwing over there because he's still not real comfortable being out on the mound?
I might vote in that direction. Dell is the 4th pitcher used by Arizona. J.C. Cloney started. Cajuns have scored in 5 of the 6 innings to this point.
Well, that's a lazy back foot right there on that pick off to first base. Barely clearing the rubber.
Two balls and a strike. Cajun fans heckling the slower pace of this inning, reminding the Wildcats, hey, you have to play again tonight. So
yeah, you want to play slow and stay out there, go ahead. I mean,
party never stops here in Lafayette. That's why it's one of the best college baseball atmospheres in the country.
I bet you half of them will come back tonight to see who survives.
Lost a game yesterday due to rain, only played 1 game, an elimination game. Princeton went home after losing to Sam Houston. Anshak drilled by that pitch. 2 more base runners for Louisiana Lafayette.
Princeton came in and gained a lot of respect. I think their games were fun to watch. Very, very competitive.
For more coverage of the Division I baseball regionals and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. And as we start to get deeper into Sunday, Tom, and you look at the brackets around the country and some of the regional finals, there's always 1 or 2 that jump out at you. I mean, we're seeing the 1 and 2 teams play here for a berth in the regional finals, but I don't know, William Mary and East Carolina and Charlottesville has to be a huge shocker.
Yeah. And East Carolina's they've had a good ball club all year long, and again, one of those guys is 1 win away from a super regional, and now you start wondering, you know, the shifts and who gets to host it. But again, as long as those first 8 guys are intact, then it's already set. But yeah, there's a couple odd matchups here, and yet some of the favorites, some of the guys you expect to be there.
Mills with a big rip and a miss, but we talked about some of the Louisiana schools. Who knows what's going to happen in Baton Rouge? A, they have to be able to get on the field to play. But Tulane and Boston College in a regional final, so there's a possibility for a Louisiana school, and the Cajuns will be sitting pretty if they finish off this win.
And I'm pretty sure that Boston College is the one that's 2-0, and the team that has to lose, you know, 2. Wilmington undefeated. South Carolina has to beat them twice, but South Carolina's at home.
Lifted to left center. Oliver records the second out.
Florida State at home. South Alabama has to beat them twice. That's a long shot. Louisville and Wright State. Louisville right now on fire at home. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're safe. Florida and Georgia Tech. As good a job as Danny does, and he's got a really good offensive ball club, but that pitching staff of Florida is, I don't know, probably comparable to the Atlanta Braves. I know on top velocity-wise, they probably compare. North Carolina State, Coastal Carolina, the home team in the losers bracket. They have to beat Coastal Carolina twice.
It's Joe Robbins. He's been on base all 4 times. He's come to the plate.
Coastal pretty deep on the mound, but again, they got to beat the home team twice there, and North Carolina State has proven they can get hot with the bat. I think South Carolina, that's going to be the interesting one right there. Wilmington got good arms, and South Carolina at home, a lot of pressure. Sometimes playing at home, boy, when you lose it creates a lot more pressure.
Cajuns hoping to avoid that and win their second game, even though they had to wait a day. Breaking ball spins in there for a strike to Robbins. He's walked 3 times. He's singled. He's knocked in a run. He's scored a run. He's stolen a base, and he's been caught stealing, just to complete and fill up as many columns in that box score as possible. Thurman, the catcher, he's at second. Hanchak at first. Late strike call, but it makes it 1-2.
They still want that tight strike zone, don't they? I'll tell you, the guy behind the plate's had a rough day. Create earplugs for home plate umpires.
Next one to Robbins, down and out, backhanded by Howgoose. Been in there for a couple of innings.
I was gonna say that slider just followed his front shoulder. He flew open and it flew with him. Pretty good slider action, just way out of the zone.
Couple of runners on base and a 2-2 pitch. Slider again, down and out.
I think the Cajuns are locked in. They haven't swung with too many bad pitches. The more you play, the more confidence you get, the tougher out you become.
Robbins, his father, pitched at LSU, played some minor league baseball for Toronto. Pretty good bloodlines, and Joe Robbins has been a pest today. Gibbons will retire him for the first time on a fly out to right. The inning is over. 7 complete. It's a 7-run Cajun lead. Autek has lost once.
Missing off of this list, isn't there?
What's his name? Where is that sheet? God dang it. Ten to 3, the Raging Cajuns with the lead as we go to the top of this 8th inning. Here's our brackets. Day 1, Cajuns rally to defeat Princeton. Arizona over Sam Houston State in the early game. One game yesterday, won by the Bearcats 7-2. They await the winner tonight of the loser of this game. Arizona down to its final 6 outs. Otherwise, the Raging Cajuns will punch their tickets into a regional final.
Sam Houston gets a chance to sit there and drink Gatorade, iced tea, and stay in the air conditioning. And Arizona's going to get tested, boy, physically.
Here's Dahlbeck, 1 for 3.
You might think that this might be Dahlbeck's last at bat, might get him off his feet. Only because, in all likelihood, you're going to see him in the second game today pitching.
One point or another. Dolbeck came into this game 12 for his last 23, 1 for 3 here this afternoon. Played both third base and left field. Huval back out there for his third inning of relief after Gunnar Leger went the 5 innings.
Well, he really frees that front side. Sometimes that arm's just way late.
Explain freeze the front side as he issues ball 4.
You know, the one thing you like to make sure your pitchers do is step towards the plate, and some guys will actually go out and draw a line off their back foot. And in most cases, you throw better strikes when you get your front foot down quicker, because it gives you a chance to get that base under you and then use the backside. And so many of these guys nowadays that are trying to throw 95, they swing that front leg and that front hip, and it just comes way open.
Matojevic will line to center for out number 1.
And then the arm, the hand follows. And like in the last inning, there were a couple high-quality sliders thrown, but they were 1.5 feet wide. And it's not the ball's fault. It's the body's fault. The body creates balls. I mean, if you don't stay in line, you know, I mean, I've told pitchers over the years, don't ever blame it on the baseball. You know, nothing drives me more crazy than to see a pitcher ask for another ball after he walks somebody. It's not the ball's fault. You know, it's your fault. Your alignment, you drift out, and you normally drift out when you're overthrowing a breaker or trying to overthrow a fastball. Sometimes guys will start squared up, and sometimes they start open, and they never get squared up. A little bit like hitting. And again, it's a new age in pitching. Velocity's taken over. You know, people aren't hunting the pitcher. They're hunting velocity. Velocity's safe. You know, you're safe in your job when you sign a 94, because now that player development guy has to fix it. You know, whatever mechanical things are in there, it's his job to fix it. And sometimes that guy at 90 that can really pitch is the guy it's a little bit safer to bet your money on. And they take time.
Fonzo Rivas pinch hitting here.
And you'll see guys kind of, okay, man, I'm really having a battle with this guy, so just put him in a stretch. Because in a stretch, they get the foot down a little bit quicker. They can get the foot down in the spot you want and still load up.
Wave and a miss for out number 2.
I mean, this guy's so much better in a stretch. And I'm sure Tony's had this battle with him. His arm stayed on the release point.
Arizona starting to roll up the pinch hitters. First Rivas hit for Lewis. Now Banky hit for Oliva.
Yeah, it's time to get some guys off the bench, get them in, get some guys off their feet, get them ready for game 2 today. Players know what you're doing. They know you're not conceding, but they know you're stuck in a tough place right here.
Isn't it almost easier in the sense that if this was a 2-run game, you didn't have that luxury, but now 7-run lead, it's a different story.
Absolutely. You play this one tight and you exhaust all energy, all your emotion, it's hard to build up. I think in their mind, they've already realized the fact they're playing a doubleheader today, and that's going to be the positive thought.
Banky with a chopper to second. Trusclair there to win the inning.
And as long as that guy throws strikes, he keeps the Cajuns out of their bullpen. He's done his job.
7-run Cajun lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th. As far as getting a guy off his feet?
About pitching mechanics and how simple an adjustment can be and the success that follows.
Okay.
Because I know Johnny was a real battle for me, and I had him for 4 years.
Who's that in right field? Can you see real quick?
20-something.
Hold on. Okay, who's pitching? Tyler Crawford. Yeah, that's good one to come back with.
Who's that pitching? Crawford?
Party's grown, Tom, on that. I don't even know if it's a house or a shed out there in left field under the scoreboard.
Well, they've done it before because they look very comfortable.
Now pitching is number 30, Tyler Crawford.
Fans inside have watched their Cajuns put up a 10-3 lead as we go into the bottom of the 8th inning. New pitcher is Tyler Crawford, senior out of Phoenix. 5th pitcher used today by these Arizona Wildcats.
And I think, again, to see some guys get out there that haven't pitched a whole lot, you know, they'll never forget pitching in a regional for one thing. And they're not on this ball club if they can't perform, but more importantly, able to save the guys in his mind that it's going to take to win game 2 today. Tomorrow is just a blur. Tonight is important, and you gotta fight off that. Well, what about if we have to play? No, now they got to win tonight. This game's fun because you didn't have to win this game.
First pitch hacking is Clement.
Nice play.
Gibbons not giving up on this game. Lays out to make the catch.
Big time play in right center field.
How about these Cajun fans cheering the effort by the Wildcats right fielder? They
Yeah.
give him a standing O.
Almost unbelievable. Well, they like baseball.
A couple of other changes. Well, Gibbons stayed in right. Banky came in at center. Rivas went out to left after pinch hitting, and Dahlback, who started at third and went to left, is back to third. Here's Trosclair. 2 for 2, 3 RBIs. He's been hit by a pitch. Upped his RBI total to 39, and well, that is still far from last year's big total of 53. He's doing it all. There's Dahlback showing up and making a fine play with that arm. 2 gone.
Yeah, we almost had a collision right there. You know, Brett, I wonder, you know, what it does to your alignment on turf. Because you don't know where do you put your third baseman. You know, definitely don't want to be in on turf all the time. You like to play him deep, and there's really no double play depth.
Here's Brent Conrad facing Tyler Crawford. Quick note, Tom Crawford, only player on this roster from the championship team in 2012. He pitched in Omaha. Had Tommy John surgery in 2015, came back just a month ago. That's why he had the 4 appearances. Redshirted last year. The only player coming into this regional with any postseason experience. So good to see him back out there and just to bounce back after all that time off.
Yeah, he's enjoying it too. Tell you what, he's got a quick hand at the release point. He finishes his pitches.
3 quick outs. Sends the Wildcats to bat at the top of the 9th. They need a big frame. Down 7.
So what time do we actually start today?
145.
145, and it's 4:45. That's 3 hours. It's going to end up being a little bit over 3 hours.
They say Cajun time is a little bit different than others, but to me it's still about 10 to 5 Central Time. It's time for these Arizona Bats to come alive, otherwise they're in danger of turning around and playing another game. And who knows what Mother Nature has in store, because we felt her wrath for the better part of 2 days.
And it's actually getting dark out here again. It's interesting because the Raging Cajuns haven't changed catchers, and this guy's streak's going to continue, huh? I wonder if anybody's ever done that in college baseball history. Caught every inning. That might be a funny stat to try to find.
He's going to be the best shape of anybody out here. Sawyer Gisaki will pinch hit to start this inning. If we get time in game 2, this guy is a film major, and he puts together some incredible videos edited together, chronicling the team's road trips. It's almost like having an extra sports information director on staff with the content he produces.
I bet he keeps the locker room nice and loose.
We get a pitching change in game 2. We're going to try and show you some of his work. Young man from Walnut Creek, California. Takes a strike from Huval. He's going to try and finish this one with 4 zeros.
Tell you what, Huval has done exactly what the coach needed. Kept him out of the bullpen.
Huval is not allowed a runner to reach scoring position in nearly 4 innings of work. Hasn't given up a hit. He's walked 3.
Pitching depth is a beautiful thing, Brett. In this college baseball world, boy, if you can develop, if you can go out and find a guy that's maybe been struggling, getting over an arm injury, and he'll come and you can fix him. And it's hard to develop pitching depth. It really is with the 11.7 scholarship thing. And you try to have 8 good ones, because if you just carve that 11.7 up and take a look at it, and you invest 60% in about 8 guys on the mound, then you might have a little bit extra to maybe go find an extra left-hander, or maybe an extra right-handed submarine guy or something like that. But you got to really be wise in how you invest your 11.7.
Casey Bowman pinch hitting here against Huval with a count of 0-2. Wildcats down to their final 2 outs. Sit into right center. Bowman with a base hit. Raymer's been such a dangerous leadoff hitter, but he will be lifted. Michael Horde will bat. First base hit that Huval has given up.
31, Michael Horde.
Michael Horde.
Tucson, Arizona, hometown product, South Point High School. Raging Cajuns scored 3 in the first. They got a home run from Trosclair in the 3rd inning, made it 4-0, and they have not looked back.
Well, it's all business. The guys on the mound for the Raging Cajuns have really established the fact that they'll compete. You look at them, and they're pitching to the strike zone right now. They're not even pitching to hitters.
2 outs in the 9th inning.
And you know, by this time of the year, Brett, if you're any good, all you notice is whether a guy's left or right-handed, because you know how you're going to get them out. And yeah, scouting reports, they're important. As Tony said, he ignores them. His assistant coaches don't ignore them because they want to make sure they don't, put a guy in the wrong position defensively.
Zach Gibbons will keep this game alive. Another base hit, his 2nd of the contest. 87th of the year.
The pitchers by this time of the season, they know how they're going to get a righty out, and they know how they're going to get a lefty out. They're going to go with their strength more than the scouting report. Takes a really refined, finished product that can pitch to a scouting report.
Brian Aguilar will bat again. The Cats down to their final out.
And at the same time, right here, Aguilar gets one in a gap or hits one over the fence. Now you get a little bit of momentum going into that night, where you feel like, hey, man, let's just keep it up. We got beat by a good ball club. Let's turn around tonight and beat Sam Houston, and we'll take a shot at them again tomorrow. Good pitch.
Evens the count at 1.
I really like the fact that they get every pitch off within 15 seconds.
Good tempo. Lifted to left center.
Hit well, but right back into him.
That will do it. And the Raging Cajuns are in the regional final. A 10-3 win. And they'll force Arizona in this heat and humidity to turn around in a few hours and play an elimination game.
Now it's your mental strength that's going to get tested, and we heard all the coaches talk about it. You don't roll over and die. Go grab yourself a sandwich, get a bunch of liquid in you, try to take that uniform off. I don't know, they may have enough time to sneak in a shower, wake the body up, but tonight you come back and you play for your life. Sam Houston State sitting around, waiting for this ball game, and as we heard Coach talk about, it's one game at a time.
Once again, our final score here today. The Raging Cajuns over the Arizona Wildcats, 10-3. Join us tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for an elimination matchup between these Arizona Wildcats and the Sam Houston State Bearcats here in Lafayette. All games also available on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. For Tom Holliday and the rest of our ESPN crew, I'm Brett Dolan. Thanks, everybody, for watching.